was like, that's how we need to think about affordable housing. These little tiny jurisdictions, and you don't want to do a pilot. You've got this problem. We don't get anything. And it doesn't help again when like New Jersey, like right there. We have public housing problems. Imagine they got public housing problems. Yeah. I mean, it's like, how do you? Anyway, that's this conversation. So I was saying, I'm gonna see Ruth Ann tomorrow. You're not including a dancer. No. Promise Bloomberg. Oh yeah, just well, yeah. That's the mic near Ken is on when he starts. When I start talking about congestion pricing, I think it looks like it's red. It's right. It's like, but that, Are we waiting for the? No, we are. Oh wow! Empty, but I guess announcement. We can start, everybody.
All right. We have some. There's a desire to come in.
Oh, just for me to go to my day job. That would be good. Eric.
Yes.
So, thank you, Lil, for our agenda today that sets everybody into our time frames, 9 o'clock to 10:30, 10:30, 11:30, maybe sooner, when our SONYMA colleagues come in at 10:30. We've got a little, that's when it's red?
That one's off.
Maybe they're too close to each other. Well,
but this one's off.
Okay, you're right.
Should we turn it on?
No, it's fine.
As long as they can hear us.
Let us know. Great. Well, let's get started, everybody. We're going to do HTFC first, right, Diana? And yes. If everybody's here, I'm kind of looking around. Is B in Syracuse? Yes.
Yes,
Good morning,
I am.
B. How are you?
Good morning. I'm
nice.
good. How are you?
Fantastic. Just checking in and making sure. We have a little kind of funny echo here in New York City. We want to make sure you can hear us okay.
I hear you fine.
Great. Great.
Better.
Look at that. And Albany, is Albany on the line?
Yep, we're here. We can hear you.
Excellent. Good morning, everybody. Great. And again, Lil, thanks for setting all this up. Well, I'll turn things over to Diana, who will take the requisite legal steps to formally open today's meetings. Diana, good morning.
Good morning. I note that Jesse Olzak and Eric Monster, representing the Director of the Division of the Budget and the Commissioner of Taxation and Finance, are participating in the meeting via video conference from the New York State Division of Budget Conference Center at the Capitol Building, room 131 in Albany, and that B. Gonzalez is participating from the Syracuse Regional Office, 620 Erie Boulevard, Suite 312. Notice of these locations has been made public, and the public has the right to attend and observe the proceedings from either location. I ask for a motion to open the HFA.
So I'm more on camera. Otherwise, they won't be able to see.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. I will now ask individual votes from each HFA, HTFC board members. Chairman Adams?
Aye.
Commissioner?
Yeah, aye.
Mr. Olzak? Mr. Olzak?
Aye.
Mr. Monster?
Aye.
Ms. McCune?
Aye.
Mr. McIntyre?
Aye.
And Ms. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Thanks, everybody. Today we'll begin with the HTFC agenda. Again, thanks to Lil for setting all this up and sending out the materials. Item 1 is first item on our agenda, the minutes of the board and committee meetings held on June 29th. The minutes shall be deemed approved, absent corrections from members or directors. Anybody have comments on the minutes from our June meeting? Great. Number 2, Diana, resolution authorizing an increase in the Community Investment Fund award for Ithaca Neighborhood Housing Services, Inc. Looks like Brett's got this one.
Good morning. We're seeking the board's approval to increase the Village Grove Projects Community Investment Fund, or CIF, award in the amount of approximately $611,000 to $2.1 million. The CIF award is intended to fund a nursery school as the community services facility component of the 46-unit residential project known as Village Grove, again, located in Tompkins County, that is being developed by Ithaca Neighborhood Housing Services through 9% LIC and Housing Trust Fund subsidy and other sources. The project requested additional funding due to cost escalation, construction cost escalation, and CIF really is the only source available to cover the non-residential space that consists of the nursery school. We handle the residential portion on the LIC side. Folks have any questions about the request?
That sounds good. Let's make it happen.
Now before the HTFC members is a resolution authorizing an increase to a Community Investment Fund award for Ithaca Neighborhood Housing Services, Inc. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board, all in favor, please say aye.
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 CPC is the lender here.
So you're out, Sadie?
Yes.
Yeah, Sadie's out, CPC's involved. CPC's in, so Sadie's out.
Okay.
Um,
With that recusal, the motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Great. Thank you, Sadie. Thank you, Diana. And I'll just note that, as you all know from the agenda, we'll be looking at this project with Jeff when Mike presents it for mortgage insurance and I think an HFA loan. It's a good project. Let's go to number 3. This is, again, Brett, resolution authorizing fall 2022 multifamily finance 9% awards.
Thank you. Good morning again. HCR made awards in April 2023 stemming from our fall 2022 round RFP for 9% low-income housing tax credits. Brief overview of that, 56 applications were reviewed and 20 awards were made consisting of over 1,300 units that will be created and preserved and representing over $630 million in total project costs. The awards were distributed geographically statewide with between 1 and 3 projects in each of the 10 regional economic development council regions. We're presenting the subsidy awards today for the board's approval. In addition, there are 4 downtown redevelopment initiatives, or DRI projects, that are associated with 4 of the 20 projects here that are also included in this resolution for the board's approval. These awards are assigned by the Department of State to HCR to administer, and they're typically, as you may recall, presented by Crystal Loeffler from OCR. In this case, separate from the initial tranche of DRI awards that the board previously approved, these are associated with these 4, again, projects that I'll describe in a moment, and it was administratively easier for us to include these 4 awards in this resolution because they'll be tied closely to these 4 projects that were just approved in April. So I will summarize each of the projects that are listed in the chart in the memo, and feel free to interject with any questions as it'll be a little lengthy. So I'll try to be brief. The first on the chart is DePaul Properties Mosaic Apartments. This is a 60-unit new construction project. It's an integrative supportive housing project serving individuals with a serious mental illness located in Schenectady. The next project is Beacon Community Services 35 Broadway, which is a 67-unit new construction integrated supportive housing project located in the village of Menands in Albany County. The next is Housing Visions Consultants Creekside Landing. This is a 52-unit multi-site redevelopment and new construction project in the city of Syracuse, consisting of the construction of 16 2-unit buildings and the rehab of 1 20-unit building across 23 sites. This project also includes a supportive set-aside for 16 units for homeless young adults, and is one of the 4 DRI awardees mentioned, and the DRI work will include a community services space for a workforce development and construction trade training center to be operated by Jubilee Homes. The next is Ibero-American Development Corp's Alta Vista, Avista rather, if you want to pronounce it correctly, at St. Joseph's Park. A 76-unit new construction of a mixed-income, mixed-use supportive project on vacant land in Rochester. 14 units are set aside for the mix of homeless populations to be served by the YWCA of Rochester and Monroe. This is the second DRI project, which includes a commercial space, leasing office, and support services space. The next project is Providence Housing Development Corporation, St. Leo Senior Apartments. This is an infill new construction of 40 units of supportive and senior housing located in the village of Hinton in Monroe County. Moving to Long Island, the next is D&F Development Group's Alegria North. This is an 81-unit integrated supportive housing and workforce opportunity new construction project located in Wyandanch within a quarter-mile of the Long Island Railroad. 21 units will be set aside for individuals re-entering the community from incarceration and individuals with a serious mental illness. The next also in Long Island is Georgica Green Ventures The Grove, which is located in East Patchogue. It's a 55-unit mixed-use, mixed-income integrated supportive housing project with 17 units that will serve survivors of domestic violence and 1 chronically homeless household. Next, moving up the Hudson Valley, is Rupco, Inc.'s Silver Gardens, a 57-unit new construction of a senior and integrated supportive housing project in the town of Lloyd, Ulster County. 29 of those units will serve a combination of homeless seniors, persons living with HIV/AIDS, and chronically homeless individuals. Next is Conifer's James Lindbergh Senior Apartments, a 94-unit new construction of a senior housing project in the city of Yonkers that involves the cleanup and redevelopment of a brownfield. Next is Kearney Realty and Development Group's East End Lofts, a 66-unit mixed-use, mixed-income infill new construction project located in Newburgh, Orange County, which will include a 50% artist preference. Next is Parkview Development and Construction, Glove City Lofts, a 75-unit mixed-income, mixed-use project, also with an 50% artist preference, located in the city of Gloversville, Fulton County. This is the third DRI project that will fund a commercial space to house the Glove City Arts Alliance and include exhibition, gallery, and performance space for tenants and local artists. Next is the Fortune Society's Castle 3, an 82-unit new construction integrated supportive housing project, which includes 58 supportive units located on vacant land, vacant land in East Harlem. 58 units will serve individuals re-entering the community from incarceration and chronically homeless individuals living with an SMI or substance abuse disorder with histories of incarceration. Next is Housing Works Pitkin Avenue Residence, a 39-unit integrated supportive housing development located in Brooklyn, including 22 units for chronically homeless individuals living with HIV/AIDS, SMI, or an SUD. Next is Communal Life Tibu Avenue, a 83-unit senior and integrated supportive housing project involving new construction in the Bronx. 50 of those units will serve homeless seniors. Next, moving up to the North Country, is OWD Development, the Ovalwood Dish Factory, an 80-unit adaptive reuse of a large former factory complex to a mixed-use, mixed-income workforce opportunity project located in the village of Tupper Lake, Franklin County. The residential project is a component of a larger 3-condo commercial development of the site, in which Housing Visions Consultants is partnering with several other private investment partners. The commercial uses to be funded by the Downtown Revitalization Initiative include Franklin County's co-working space, offices for one of the investor partners, and self-storage units. And the third condo is a separately financed brewery. Next is Providence Housing Development Corporation. Providence Housing Development Corporation's Dana Lyon Apartments, an adaptive reuse of a historic former school to create 49 units mixed-use, integrative supportive housing and workforce opportunity project located in the village of Bath, Steuben County. 8 units are set aside for homeless individuals. One moment, please. Little activity in the hallway there, I apologize. 8 units are set aside for homeless individuals with either a serious mental illness or substance abuse disorder. 4 more. Next is Vism Development Group. It's the Stately Apartments, a 57-unit new construction of an infill mixed-use project located in Ithaca, Tompkins County, with 20 units being set aside for homeless households, a mix of survivors of domestic violence and households with a substance abuse disorder. Next is Best Self Properties, Manhattan Village at Best Self, which involves the remediation of a vacant brownfield to allow infill new construction of a 66-unit integrated supportive housing project in the city of Buffalo. 33 of these units will be permanent supportive housing set aside for homeless households with either a SUD or SMI. Next is Park Grove Development's Riley Brook Apartments, a 70-unit new construction of a project in a well-resourced area. These are formerly known as housing opportunity projects in the town of Hamburg, Erie County. And finally, Belmont Housing Resources for Western New York, a 875 Lafayette is the name of the project, an 80-unit mixed-income adaptive reuse of vacant portions of a former hospital in the city of Buffalo. That was a lot, but I'm happy to answer any questions on any projects.
Well, Brett, we'll give you a moment to catch your breath.
Thank you.
Thank you thank you for the review. You know, Diana had whispered to me what an impressive list of projects and
The impact.
yeah, and also just they're so complicated because you're pulling together all these different funding streams, including the support, the 9% credits, and the HTFC support. Any questions for Brett on any of these?
No, I would just equally give kudos to Brett and his team because they review double or triple the amount of applications that we award. So it's not only a lot of work just to go through and award all these, but they're reviewing so many more. And they're all really incredible. I mean, I think they're just really incredible projects. So thank you, Brett, to you and the team.
Yeah.
Okay, my turn.
Terrific, Diane. Let's do it.
And I just say too, these are, and not only that, I think it's just like the way that these projects, even on smaller projects, are able to weave together the number of resources that they do and
Yeah.
really put these together. Their level of complexity, I think, is really, again, this is the difference between getting affordable housing done and affordable housing not getting built. And I think that that level of effort and that staff, like the ability to do that, is like what differentiates this agency in New York and from a lot of other places in this country too. So.
Okay, now before the HTFC members is a resolution authorizing fall 2022 multifamily finance 9% awards. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ones that CPC is not financing.
Okay.
Sadie's eye is conditioned.
Okay, and just Sadie, which is the one that you're?
There's a bunch of them.
You can just,
Why don't
Do
you
it
just?
offline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
I'll
like
email you.
or just check, take the
Yeah.
chart. Oh, you know, we could print-
recused on ones that CPC
we could
is.
get
I don't want to spend
Lil
the
to
time
print
now.
out the chart. She could just,
Okay, so with the exception of the recusal of Sadie on the ones projects in which CPC is involved, did everyone say aye?
let's do that one more
Okay.
time. Aye.
All right, the motion is carried and the resolution.
Good. Thank you, Brett. And thanks, Diana. Next up, number 4, a resolution authorizing small rental development initiative awards. Madeline's going to do this one.
Hello.
There she is.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You'll be seeing a lot of me today, which is very exciting for you.
How are you here?
Yeah, it's
Put it
really
on
nice
TV.
to be here. So this first thing that I'll be presenting, I'll have some stuff on HFA later, but this is the Small Rental Development Initiative, which was structured sort of programmatically around a fiscal year 23 allocation for $7 million for small rental development. In January, we issued a request for applications where we invited nonprofit housing organizations to apply for funding for rehab or new construction of rental projects from 5 to 20 units and generally affordable at 80% AMI or less. The funding is offered as a 0% deferred payment loan with a 15-year affordability period. We received 11 applications and we scored them. 2 staff people scored them. We averaged the scores according to 4 main criteria: project need and impact, development team experience and capacity, project readiness, and the financing plan presented. The top 5 scoring projects reflect a total request of just over $6.8 million, which is also roughly about half the total cost of the proposed projects. I'll just quickly summarize them. I think you have all the details, but in the interest of time, Home Headquarters proposed a 5-unit project in Syracuse, part of a small mixed-use building to be built in an area where there's a lot of focus and concentration on revitalization. The Urban League of Rochester Economic Development Corporation proposed the rehab of 16 existing units in Rochester. Housing Visions proposed the rehabilitation of 13 units in Syracuse and brought several other financing sources to the table. HAPIC up in Essex County proposed the construction of 6 units in the rural town of Wilmington using modular construction, which is kind of neat, a neat proposal. And excuse me, Greater Opportunities for Broome and Chenango proposed the construction of 12 units in Binghamton. I just wanted to note that we did get a lot of great proposals, and we're sad that we couldn't fund more. But I just wanted to note that another $7 million was allocated in the more recent fiscal year. And so we're going to try to follow this in early fall with another application so we can hopefully get reapplication from some of the ones we weren't able to fund, and also, open it up to get some new applications as well.
And don't forget, you got about $199,000 that you didn't spend this year.
That's right. I'm
don't
sure
let
none of
Daryl
them
put
will
that
go
in
over
some
budget.
other-
So
You're
yeah,
starting out,
we're
starting
sure
out
we'll
200
spend
grand.
that.
Madeline, just a quick question. How did you, with something new like this, and there's always deadlines and it's hard, how do you get the word out so that people to result in the 11 applications? And it's a
Sure.
big state that also feels like a small number.
Sure. There's a couple of things. One, this was the Rural Housing Coalition was very interested in getting this funding. So they themselves did a lot of outreach and made sure lots of people knew about it. And then we also reached out because of all of the network through OCR and Crystal Loeffler's team doing lots of work with the NPCs and RPCs. And so we did a lot of emailing and outreach to make sure that everyone knew about the opportunity.
Do any of the organizations that got the funding, are any of them kind of previous clients, if you will? Like, do you ever see applications coming in from an organization for which, they built something 20 years ago thanks to, repeat
I think they're all repeat business. These are all, sort of known nonprofits that we do a lot of work with. And I would say even on the other side, the applications that came in, mostly groups that are working with the agency in one way or another. So.
Great. And where'd the money come from?
Legislature, governor. Jesse gave it to us.
Thank you, Jesse. We're thanking Jesse for the money. We need more than 7 million. Madeline can, she's got applications coming in from all over the state.
You're breaking up, Ken. You're breaking up.
Oh, good. Then you didn't hear the part that I said it. Jesse, then you didn't hear the part that I said that Madeline wants more money, okay? Because she's got applications coming in from all over the state.
Real bad connection. I don't know. I can't explain.
Yeah, it must be that. Must be the connection. I'll send you an email. Any other questions for Madeline on this? Dana, let's make it happen.
Now before the HTFC members is a resolution authorizing small rental development Commission of Awards. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board. All in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Great,
Thank you.
Thank you, Madeline. Well, I know we'll see you later. Item 5 is a resolution authorizing an affordable homeownership opportunity program, an award for a project called Hidden Meadow, which is in Somers, or at least, yes, Somers LLC.
Good pronunciation.
Hi, everyone. Great, so this is a $1.6 million award in AHOP funding for Hidden Meadow at Somers. The sponsor here is Kearney Realty and Development Group, a very experienced developer and sort of repeat client of the agency. They've done a lot of work in the Mid-Hudson region. This is the second phase of a larger development. So it's a subdivision that involves, there are 37 market rate townhomes. They had initially planned to go with AHC for these 8 affordable townhomes that are a part of this project. But for a variety of reasons, they ran into, is that better? Yeah.
We'll see.
No?
No.
Maybe this one over here.
We have a microphone too close to a speaker. Maybe it's jammed.
Go ahead. Is that better? Can people hear me on the?
Grab the one away. Yeah.
Can we turn that off?
Or they're just too sensitive, right? Like there's just
I don't know.
Maybe that works.
How's that?
No, I would say.
It's because they're too sensitive. Like it's the speaker and the. Right. I don't know what to do. Little.
It's also feeling as big as I know at this point. It doesn't matter if we're on or off.
It's not Tom.
It's not.
Tom did not. This was happening before Tom came to the table.
Turn that one off. That's right.
Yeah, maybe.
Is that better?
All right, now try to turn other people's on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you had it.
Specifically that one.
All right.
Oh, so one was too set. Yeah, does that work? That's better.
So Tom, do you want to take this one?
Sure.
Because we have another one over here.
Oh boy, that's gonna go. Let's see what happens now.
I know.
It's
Yeah, there's
something about this spot.
Yeah.
It's like Area 54. What's it called?
I can
Area
just project
59?
if people can hear me and I can maybe get picked up on that. Okay. If
Yeah,
that works.
Yeah, let's try it.
All right. Let me know if I should, we can switch it back.
Can they hear?
Jesse, can you
Yeah,
hear
they can.
us?
Yeah.
Wow.
They can.
We can hear you. We're also hearing the feedback too. So.
Okay. All right, well, I'll keep going. So yeah, they had initially intended to use HC. They ran into some construction delays and other issues, and so they're sort of coming back to the table to sort of refinance the project. So CPC will be providing a construction loan here, and we'll be providing AHOP to make sure that the affordability can be met and that the homes can get finished. So at the moment, the homes that we're talking about are 40% complete with foundations laid, and we're putting in financing to get them fully done. These units will all be regulated at 80% of AMI. Each home will have an accessory dwelling unit, a one-bedroom apartment on the lower level that will be regulated by Westchester County and will be rented at up to 60% of AMI. And the homes will be sold at about $275,000, which equates to 76% of AMI. So excited about this. It's rare, I think, that you get the opportunity to build affordable housing in this part of Westchester County. So we jumped on this opportunity.
Yeah, it's quite a sight, right? Yeah.
Magnificent.
Great. Any questions for Tom on this? Terrific. Diana, let's do it.
Resolution authorizing an affordable home ownership opportunity program award for Hidden Meadows at Somers LLC. Now before the HTFC members is a resolution authorizing affordable home ownership opportunity program award for Hidden Meadows. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. Noted the recusal of Sadie. The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Thanks, Diana. And thank you, Tom.
So moving right along to our
Meadows
second
hidden no
project.
more.
This is sort of thematic, another project that has run into some difficulties and that we're sort of providing financing to help it get to the finish line. This is a $9 million award for the substantial rehabilitation of 2 buildings in Washington Heights in Manhattan. Our loan here is filling a financing gap and buying down some of the vacant unit sales prices to improve the affordability and marketability of the units. This is the second phase of a 2-phase project. In the first phase, they had run into some issues with sort of sales prices and the marketability. There are 50 total units in the project. 17 are currently vacant. The others, the tenants have been relocated and will move back in when the work is complete. But these are tenants who have been living in the building, a city-owned building that's been managed through the Tenant Interim Lease Program. And it's being brought forward now through HPD's Affordable Neighborhood Cooperative Program, which intends to rehabilitate city-owned properties and to transfer them over to the tenants in the form of cooperatives. The sponsor is the Mutual Housing Association of New York, which is a prolific nonprofit developer in the city, does a lot of work with distressed housing. And our lender here is CPC, as it was with Hidden Meadow. Let's see. So yeah, the first phase of the project was completed. The second ran into a number of issues. The GC, as an entity, sort of imploded. The pandemic happened. They've had squatters in the building. There's been a number of issues that they've run into, and those have sort of ballooned the project's costs. They've come back to seek additional financing. The vacant homes will be sold at an average sales price of about $240,000, which equates to about 76% of AMI. I'm excited about this one as well.
And that's sort of our subsidy helps lower the cost to the ultimate.
Yeah, so originally the vacant sales prices had to be underwritten higher to fill the project's financing gap. Bringing in AHOP allowed them to bring those down by $40,000 per unit, which they're hoping will sort of avoid some of the issues they've had in the first phase. Small units, it's tough to market.
Great. Okay, good. Questions for Tom on this? All right, let's do it.
Now before the HTFC members is a resolution authorizing an affordable homeownership for the Mutual Housing Association of New York. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. Noting Sadie's recusal, the motion is carried and the resolution is adopted.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Let's see. Now we're going to go to 7, a resolution authorizing increases to the Community Development Block Grant CARES Act awards. Crystal's going to help us with this, as she always does.
Hi, everyone. Crystal's not available.
That's
this
not
is Scott
great.
LeMountain,
Hi, Scott.
Program Director for CDBG Economic Development. I'm going to present these board items. So for the CDBG CARES Act award increases this month, we don't have new awards, but we're advancing 2 recommendations for increases on existing awards. Both Shenango County and the Commission on Economic Opportunity for the Greater Capital District, known as CEO, have both been successfully administering CDBG CV projects. Shenango County encountered unforeseen complications and equipment installs for their broadband expansion project and is requesting additional funds to make up that difference. Whereas CEO is requesting additional support to complete their community services facility in Troy. This request is due to substantial construction cost escalation. So the Office of Community Renewal is requesting approval to amend the existing grant agreements and award an additional $64,800 to Shenango County and an additional $676,079 to CEO. So that will bring the total awards to CEO to $6.6 million and just under $2 million to Shenango County. These award increases are covered by a small balance of uncommitted CDBG CARES funds and funds that have been reallocated from other awards. Full details are in the memo and briefing sheet. Happy to answer any questions from the members.
Scott, thank you. Hey, quick question. In the chart on the far right column says accomplishments and LMI, and then it's a number of people, like 4,800 for a Shenango project or almost 30,000. What does that mean? What's that refer to?
So for CDBG, we would count the number of people served by the improvements or for the facility. So that would be the total number of folks that stand to benefit from whatever it is the activity is.
And so I see. So the potential market of people to benefit from the broadband project is like 30,000 residents of Rensselaer County, something like that. That's what you estimate.
That's right. For the
Diana,
CEO project, that's the community services facility, and those are the folks that stand to benefit from that. And same for Shenango County, the 4,800 people for the broadband expansion project.
Alex wants you to get a thank you letter from each one of them, okay?
Okay. Will do.
Cool.
A question for you on the broadband. Is there, like, I mean, I'm interested in ultimately the model that's being set up with this, and like, because obviously EDC is doing a ton on this under their sort of expanded internet program. So I'm just curious, like reporting, maybe at some point get like more send me separately, just an understanding of like how this model is, what model they're looking at exploring. But I mean, it's kind of, it seems very impactful because $2 million investment for 10,000 people, like that's what people eat up, and like those people would probably pay that to their internet bill in like that's like a change the game model, perhaps. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Scott, we could probably provide some more background on this, right?
We certainly can.
Big picture question, Ruth Ann, is it because we're the recipient of the CDBG funds and we can do broadband that's sort of related to the development of affordable housing compared to another, sister agency in state government that's really mandated to do broadband? Like, we're not the telecom agency,
So this was CARES funding, so we put in an application to HUD to say these are the kinds of uses we will allow for the CARES funding, and then a whole bunch of people applied. This was what it sounds like, Scott, we had some sort of unallocated, they had an existing award, and then we had some sort of unallocated that we added to this, but I think this was an eligible use, certainly broadband as an outcome of COVID.
Right, okay, so it's pandemic related, really. This
Yep.
is an aging pandemic project where
Yeah.
at some point somebody in Washington said, oh, people need to work from home. Oh, they don't have broadband.
Internet healthcare, like all that stuff.
But not to add more sources to the housing deals, but is there, and I think I spoke to Becky about this once, a way to integrate broadband to all the housing that can't access it when we're doing a deal in a community that needs it?
So we require we require high-speed internet in all our new construction. Julie's nodding. Yes, so we require high-speed internet in
Do you
all our.
access this capital, the EDC money, or another source, or you just put it right into your budget?
We just make them do it.
That's great.
That's really good. And it's important, I know where Sadie's going with this, as we move to more energy efficient buildings and tenants and owners get real-time monitoring of their consumption, on their phone or their watch or whatever.
A lot of
Can't do that without
a lot of the newer tools and the new technology is
Right.
relying on broadband.
You can't, right.
It also actually makes actually the person who's running at ESD is like amazing and sort of thinking about some of this stuff. But I think what's also interesting is in the retrofits that we're doing, right? we're already opening up the walls. So the point is that this is the opportunity ultimately to deliver the highest quality, most efficient opportunities during our preservation deals and when we opening up the walls, because it's two birds with one stone, to be perfectly honest. So in the same way the energy money has flowed to this agency, it would be amazing to see more broadband dollars flowing through this agency to support work that's already sort of mandated with the design guidelines and other things as well.
Yeah, I think you guys should speak up. I think on the preservation deals, where we can do it, we do it, but not everywhere they're opening up walls. Yeah, right. So I think we do try to.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Make sure folks are doing that.
But.
And we could be using other sources, as you guys, know, sometimes it's more. So. And those sources can go to other things that we're not touching also.
I'm sure the Department of State has a program.
Yeah.
Well, clearly, if you can include it in your basket of things that you do without additional documents and lawyers, that's all good.
Fewer people at the
No
meeting
offense to
makes
lawyers.
it go faster. Right. All right.
My turn?
Your turn.
Okay, now before the HTFC members is a resolution authorizing increases to community development block grant CARES Act awards. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Maybe Scott will help on this one too. Number 8, a resolution authorizing a CDBG Economic Development Program Award for the city of Gloversville. Going back,
Yes, thank you. The Office of Community Renewal makes approximately $10 million in CDBG funds available on an open round basis, awarding funds throughout the year to units of local government to assist businesses that propose creation or retention of jobs primarily available for low and moderate income individuals. So this month, OCR is requesting an approval to award $273,200 in CDBG funding to help stabilize and expand Samco Manufacturing Company in the city of Gloversville. The grant funding will support the purchase of new machinery and equipment to help the business grow and will support creation or retention of 43 jobs as part of the full expansion investment. So the Office of Community Renewal is seeking approval to award those funds and enter into a grant agreement with the city of Gloversville. Full details again in the memo and briefing sheets, but I'm happy to answer any questions from the members.
Scott, you didn't say what Samco does.
What does Samco do,
Yeah.
Scott?
Samco, I think, literally makes gloves in Gloversville. They are in the textile industry.
Well, glad to know there's one glove maker left.
Awesome, thank you.
We stopped making leather stockings a long time ago, sadly, in the leather stocking district. But
I
we
just
still make
toured a boot factory that
gloves.
was converted to housing, so,
Oh, really? A
Yeah.
boot factory?
EJ Victory.
Oh, right.
Does anybody know if the ESD funding has been approved by their board? Like who goes first? These things won't happen until they get $136,600 from ESD.
I don't know, Scott, do you know?
We were in fact presented with the incentive letter for ESD.
Oh, okay. You got the IP.
So
Right.
CDBG is last in.
Got it. Okay, good.
Lots of great stuff going on in Gloversville. They have a very dynamic mayor. It's helpful.
Mayor Vince?
Yeah.
Do we have a, I think we should approve on the 9% side of city lots.
Yes.
Yeah,
Coming up.
it's coming up.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, thank you, Scott. Let's do it, Diana.
Now before the HFC members is a resolution authorizing community development grant economic development program award for the city of Gloversville. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Thank you. Let's do 9, a resolution authorizing an increase to a CDBG infrastructure award for the village of Cobleskill, Schoharie County, I believe.
Yes, thank you. Village of Cobleskill, a prior awardee of CDBG public infrastructure funds, has requested additional funds to address a gap caused by rising material and labor expenses. So the Office of Community Renewal is seeking approval to increase the award by $250,000. With that, the increase, the village will not be able to complete the planned wastewater treatment upgrade project, and the new total project cost will be $1.25 million. Again, full details in the memo and briefing sheets. Happy to answer any questions.
Great. Questions for this one? Unlike our internet project, 4,400 people will benefit from a better wastewater treatment facility, but you know, it's a small town. There's actually, Cobleskill 6,000 people, so that you're undercounting a little bit. I checked that recently. Crazy story, but very good.
Okay, I'll do it.
Let's do it.
Now before the HFC members is a resolution authorizing an increase to a community development block grant infrastructure award for the village of Cobleskill. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board, all in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried, the resolution adopted.
The reason I know the population of Cobleskill is we had the LaGuardia Community College students there 2 weeks ago at SUNY Cobleskill. We have sustainable urban agriculture, and we do an exchange program with one of SUNY's leading agricultural schools.
I didn't know there was a student.
Absolutely. Diana, thank you. Let's see, we've got another one. The we're up to number 10, aren't we?
Yep.
10 is on the page break here. Resolution authorizing community-controlled affordable housing program awards.
Rachel.
Is this Rachel? Oh, there she is. Good morning.
Good morning. So we are seeking authorization from the board to award 15 grantees under the new community-controlled affordable housing program. This was $1 million we received last year in the state budget. We put out a notice of funding availability and received over $4 million in applications. So we are asking to award 15 of them, totaling $998,963. We almost were able to get the full million. There are
37 bucks. Who stayed?
It would have been more than someone asked for if we had tried to put it into one of their agreements. We have 4 pre-development proposals, 2 rehab, and the rest are planning, smaller planning grants. I'm happy to answer any questions about this.
Well, that was my question. What's the money for? But it's really for planning.
Yeah, most of them are $20,000 awards for planning, working with tenants to help them sort of gain control over their housing in different ways.
And again, probably like the earlier program we talked about, many of the applicants are probably organizations that already know the agencies, right? When you put out the NOFA.
Kind of. In this one, we actually have a lot of really young CLTs that are using this planning money to sort of more formalize their existence, branching off of another nonprofit organization. So it was sort of a unique pot of money in that we felt we could help some of these younger groups. The pre-development ones are preparing, getting site control, things like that, but would probably come back to our agency for development funds.
That's interesting. So that's a whole nother sort of capacity building of these emerging organizations in these areas, right? So
that's right. Yeah.
Good.
It's good. No, it's good to see like organizations like Chaya and other and from me in Jackson Heights. But it's important to see these organizations that are really embedded in the community and know their communities working on the housing issues and other things like that, which is really important.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of their first sort of interaction with us, and so we've been having a lot of communication with them. And there's another, in this year's state budget, there's another $1 million for the same purpose.
So you'll do it again?
I suppose we will, yes.
Great. Good. Any other questions or comments? Diana?
Now before the HFC members is a resolution authorizing community-controlled affordable housing program awards. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board, all in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried, the resolution adopted.
Great, while Rachel's here, let's do something else. 11, a resolution authorizing an amendment to a contract with the Western New York Law Center.
Yes. This is for our East Buffalo Homeowner Assistance Fund. It's a program we've been running for a year now with the Western New York Law Center. They're a nonprofit housing legal services organization in Western New York. And they have been taking in applications from homeowners that need assistance with their tax arrears and water bills, tried to help keep them in place, avoid foreclosure. We have received an enormous amount of applications in this program, over 2,000. We got through the first 1,300 in this first year, but we need to extend their contract for another year to get through the remainder. And we are asking for $75,000 in administrative funds to help pay the for the staff that are doing all of the work.
Sounds important. Any questions for Rachel on this? If you please.
Okay. Now before the HTFC members is a resolution authorizing an amendment to a contract with the Western New York Law Center, assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board. All in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Thanks, Rachel. Great. We need to find Heather. No? Number 12.
Yeah, it's on their screen.
Resolution approving the seeker documentation and classification of the environmental impact of the Grove Apartments.
Good morning, everyone. Today I'm presenting the Grove Apartments GGV East Patchogue project for a recommendation for a classification of the project as an unlisted action according to seeker and issuance of a negative declaration. The project proposes new construction of 3 buildings for families for a total of 55 units on a 2.7 acre site at 400 East Main Street in East Patchogue in the town of Brookhaven, Nassau County. There are no unmitigated environmental issues. And if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, at this point, I recommend and request that the board issue a negative declaration. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Let's try to do that. You know, Diane, let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens.
Let's put that approval.
Now before the HFC members is a resolution approving the secret documentation and classification of the environmental impact of the Grove Apartments. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board. All in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
All right, very good, Heather. Thank you very much. Is Dan around?
Hi, I'm in Syracuse.
Oh, very good. Well, because this next item is number 13, a resolution authorizing the amendment of the contract with Emphasis Computer Solutions, Inc. Take it away, Mr. Byer.
Good morning, everybody. After several years of hard work by a lot of people, we are nearing the completion of the Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Technology Transformation Project. This will allow us to go online with our application portal, our landlord portal, and will really bring the program into the 21st century. We tried remote group training on the new system with our local administrators, but they expressed a lot of apprehension about it. So we are moving towards individual on-site in-person trainings for each of the LAs to make sure this transformation works. That costs a little bit more money. We're also, in the long run, going to add some extra customer support in the few weeks after the transformation goes live, and subscribing to a thing known as Emphasis University, which will provide the LAs with ongoing access to videos and training. So this all will ultimately increase the cost of the project a little bit, but we think it's well worth it, so we're asking for an increase in the value of the contract to make sure we have sufficient funds to get through it. So going from 7.1 to 8 million.
All right, thanks, Dan. Any questions?
Okay, my turn.
Your turn.
Now before the HFC members is a resolution authorizing an amendment to the contract with Emphasis Computer Solutions, Inc., assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board. All in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Terrific. Good luck getting that over the goal line there, Dan. While you're at the microphone, let's do number 14, a resolution authorizing an amendment to the contract with CVR Associates, Inc.
Great. So we are adding vouchers in New York City with the new New York City waiting list that we opened in 2021. In an effort to increase the speed at which we're doing that, we brought in a contractor, CVR Associates. The original goal was around 500 vouchers, new vouchers leased up in New York City, which would have been great. But the good news is we think because of a higher success rate than anticipated in the applications, that we might actually exceed that number. So we could get closer to 600 or 700 or even 900. The contractor is compensated based on how many vouchers they get to the finish line and how many of those tasks they complete. So I am asking for a small increase in the total maximum value of their contract in the hope that they will succeed in exceeding our expectations.
Great. Sounds like a good idea. Any questions for Dan? All right, Diana, your turn.
Now before the HTFC members is a resolution authorizing an amendment to the contract with CBR Associates, Inc. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HTFC board. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you.
Motion is carried. The resolution adopted.
Thanks, B. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, everybody. Number 15. We're getting there, my friends. We're getting there. Resolution authorizing a legal services contract. On this one, we turn to none other than my friend and colleague to my right, Diana Lopez. Diana, what do you want? You want us to spend more money? What do you want?
This is a little different. Let me just get a little history here. At the January 26, 2023 board meeting, the boards authorized extending the term of legal services contracts for non-bond counsel matters for a 6-month period, that is through July 20th, 2023, as the agencies are working on issuing a request for proposals to reestablish a pre-qualified panel of law firms. The existing panel was done in 2012, was very stale. So what we did is we launched on doing this RFP. We issued the RFP for non-bond counsel on March 16th, 2023, and received 29 responses, of which 8 were from MBEs, 2 were from MWBEs, 6 were WBEs, 13 were from primes. An agency committee reviewed the written responses and are now conducting interviews. We anticipate requesting the boards to approve a newly established panel of law firms in the fall. To allow for a seamless transition of work, agency staff is requesting authorization from the members and directors to extend the term of the contracts with firms on the panel, that is the existing panel, to December 31st, 2023. I just want to, I know this is like, nobody cares about who the lawyers are, you just want the work to be done. But I just want to really commend both our procurement, Alex's invaluable help, other members of the committee. You know, you can imagine, as the commissioner pointed out, you get all the applications in, you got to review them. Trust me, reading law firm pitches on why we should hire them, not a very exciting thing to do. The committee did this hard work. We also, created a short list, have in the process of interviewing again. I'm telling you, over 20 hours just doing the interviews alone, fitting them in with a very, busy schedule of all the members, and all the staff members also participated. I can tell you, having Alex in place, I made sure that everybody was reading and everyone read it, had great questions. I think it was a really good education for everyone to sort of see the legal talent that's out there that can help us on projects. So I just wanted my little pitch for, no one cares about this, but it's so important to do this, and everyone just really stepped up and very good. Anyway, so the request is, please let us extend the current contracts to the end of the year. We hope to come back to you in the fall with the selection of non-bond.
Great. Diana, any questions for Diana?
I care about the lawyers, Diane. A good lawyer in a real estate transaction is priceless.
Let me tell you, it's not just in that, that's true in that realm, but think about all the changes we have in environmental and sustainability. We have real expertise there. Some of the programs that are coming up, we really need to have expertise on co-op and condominiums, which is not something we've done in the past. And what's really been so valuable here is because I had a very engaged committee, and people came up with their specific areas of interest, I think we were able to hone in on what are people offering for the national crime and so on. So I'm very happy.
One of the things, I totally agree. I think that the complexities of the agency are like immense with regard to like whether from cybersecurity to all the way through. And I think the one thing that's interesting, and I don't know, I think that the real estate world, especially the commercial real estate world, is going to continue to evolve around us. So for folks who have expertise, if you're looking at distressed commercial real estate assets, is probably an important thing that may be looking also for asset repositioning expertise, for example.
There are firms that had very broad real estate experience, including in those areas.
Okay, perfect. That's it.
Questions came up on that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah, so I think we're good. So now before the HFC members.
No, can I just chime in? I also want to affirm that I appreciate the fact that we realize we have some stale relationships that need a look-see and a shake-up. Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Bea. I appreciate it. A lot of work sometimes feels thankless, but I think the agency will greatly benefit from this exercise.
Yeah, it's not always a pleasure to be on the procurement team for RFPs that come in, but it is, because it is a ton of work. But the results for the agency are so important. So appreciate
I
that.
had a lot of fun on one of those.
Sure we
couple.
did. Yeah, we did.
And Diana, just a couple quick things. Is the list of 27 the final list that you're going to go? And you're
29.
29. So we're not approving that list today.
We're not approving anything
That's
today.
going to come in the
I'm
next
just giving
fall
you,
meeting.
I just thought, because, I just want to, yes, exactly. We'll tell you what the results are.
Yeah.
Once the committee hasn't
So
decided.
the action where you're asking us to take is to extend
The
the
current-
current, not the 29, but the old stale panel, for a little more time so you can finish this process.
Correct.
He didn't say in the minutes to stay a little panel, but
Well-
okay, just so you know what we're doing. And it's commendable that you have 11 of the 29 are certified MWBEs, right?
Correct. Well,
The
actually.
way it's shaping up now.
Correct, well, yeah, yes.
That's great. And we'll talk more about that down the road, but I also think as a state agency, geographic diversity matters. Are all of these firms in New York? That wouldn't be.
No. I mean, again, because I made sure that we had somebody on this panel, Amy Zamanek from our Albany office, who really focuses, a lot of the transactions up there are sort of upstate. So absolutely, that was a very important criteria as we looked at the various firms.
So, well, I know Harris Beach has a Buffalo office and so on. Okay.
Well, but
Well,
with MBEs, MWBEs, and WBEs, so.
And we'll see when you're finished, but it's a great place to be. It's great. But again, I just want to make the point about geographic diversity. Thanks for answering that. And the last is so while I tend to agree with Sadie about the importance of the lawyers and the value of their work, if in their response to the RFP, the hourly rate they put down priceless, don't hire them.
No, but here's the thing, on pricing, there's two things there. One is, as a government agency, we expect to get a discount, that just goes without saying. And I think once you get them in, you have to really be very careful on monitoring those fees. And there were some that, Alex enjoyed we had some people that interviewed that already worked for us, and I was very focused on how much did we pay you and what did you collect for us? Just to get that really clear.
Tortured them, not
tortured. Oh, listen.
My Spanish DNA, we did come up with the Inquisition. So,
there you go.
Anyway,
yes. We pay our bills net 120 if they're lucky.
Okay, so can I do it?
Let's do it.
More questions, comments, whatever?
do it.
Okay. Now before the HFC members is a resolution authorizing legal services contracts. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HFC board, all in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Great. Thanks very much, Dan, and thanks for presenting the item and getting us to approve it for you. The remainder of the items are informational, so we don't have any presentations on them unless anybody has questions. This is number 16, a review of the seeker type 2 actions for this month. 17, a review of the current HC procurements and contracts in the lobbying restricted period. Directors are reminded that they've always got to be aware of that, and it's always, every month we get that list of open procurements. Now we're going to move over to the HFA AHC agenda for this morning. So we don't need to kind of reinstate ourselves because we're the same people, right? We did that originally. So number one, our first item for HFA and AHC are the minutes of our HFA and AHC meetings that we had back on June 29th. These will be deemed approved, absent corrections, comments from members or directors. Everybody good with the minutes? Thank you. So now we're going to move to the approval of the HFA projects that are on today's agenda. We'll start with number 2, a resolution of the HFA members authorizing an amount not to exceed $13,378,329 in HFA subsidy funds for Vital Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Developmental Cell project that we're familiar with. We're going into phase 1B, maintenance hub, happens to be buildings I and J. Brooklyn, Kings County. Big article, Ruth Ann. Congratulations. Great quotes from you, Commissioner, in the Times 2 weeks ago or so. Blue zones. Very healthy environment they're working on out there. Crystals. Are you going to have crystals hanging from the windows?
It's about food and community.
I thought. Yes, well, whatever hook to get a big spread in the New York Times, lots of photographs about what the project we're financing.
Front page.
Yeah, that was quite a hook for Blue
It
Zone.
wasn't buried in the back, it was front page. Good pictures, color.
Yeah, no, seriously, great press, great project. Let's hear all about it. Julie, good morning.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So exciting to hear that everyone saw the spread a couple weeks ago in Metro section. This is the Vital Brooklyn project, otherwise known as a Lafayette now. This, as the board members may recall, is located in East New York and near Gateway. And it is, when we're finished, going to be a 6-phase development, creating approximately 2,400 units of new housing. Board members may recall that we have closed phase 1 and phase 2 of this project in December 21 and June 22. Those first 2 phases have created 3 buildings so far, and they're currently under construction. So the next phase is actually a support facility that is going to support the entire neighborhood once it's developed, and it is buildings I and J, and this is a maintenance hub. This maintenance hub, you can see from the renderings, is built with eco-friendly features in mind. They have, it's a highly insulated building with high efficiency VRF mechanical systems. And you will see in the rendering that there's an array of solar panels on the roof. Additionally, LED light fixtures and low water consumption plumbing fixtures. So this building is not a revenue generating building. It is designed to house all of the things that you need to maintain a 2,400 unit neighborhood and the accompanying open space, roads, and public space that is associated with its development. The building will host a locker room, facility for staff, a space for warehouse, refuse, recycled materials, cardboard, compost, and other things. And the idea is that the Department of Sanitation for the city won't be accessing the entire site with these roads that we're building, that this is going to be sort of a central place where Department of Sanitation can bring in their trucks and then waste can be hauled out. There'll also be ground maintenance equipment stored here. So this building, in order to finance this building, is just a straight subsidy loan that we're providing of $13,378,329. And we are asking for board approval of this subsidy loan. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Quick question. Is there storage with the solar, and will there be EV charging in the garage?
Is there EV charging
For the trash trucks?
in?
For the eventual.
Now you want battery trash, garbage trucks.
They're there.
There's an eventual fleet I mean, everything is supposed to get converted, right? We're supposed to all be driving electric vehicles. I see electric Amazon trucks on the road, but in anticipation of that and to encourage it, to have the charging infrastructure is helpful.
And also because this is a small campus, it actually doesn't need very large battery storage for these vehicles, and batteries can also in the commissary can be used as backup charging. It can be used as battery resilience themselves for the entire thing. So they could, especially in the coastline where it may lose power, like for example, electric vehicles provide backup power in the event that the whole grid around them goes out.
Every Ford car,
Yeah.
you saw that article?
Yeah.
There's a new deadline. Every one will be a backup battery.
Yeah.
Yes. It's happening, Ken.
It is.
It's happening.
I have a Tesla. I'll tell you all about it. And I charge it from my rooftop solar.
I guess the answer is probably no then, right?
I actually don't have that specific bit of information. I know that many of our projects are starting to incorporate some EV charging stations, but it's not a requirement right now. So I can find out the answer specifically to that.
We'll
But
need some spec that we got from Department of Sanitation.
Probably.
Yeah, so I would.
There's not a lot of alignment among, departments.
I know that they're building to Department of Sanitation spec on the driveway because they have to pour enough concrete to handle those heavy trucks. So I would think that maybe they're talking about that with sanitation.
Gotcha, but it's not sanitation, right? It's not like a sanitation building, so probably we don't say if they require that we might know, or I guess we know that's.
It's like a hangar, but it's like privately owned, right? It's not sanitation owned.
It's maybe just a question moving forward, Julie, for you and others working on Vital Brooklyn. It's such a big site and such a long, multi-staged project that we should continue to ask about. And again, it's actually got good exposure and lots of land and lots of potential for solar, at least, among other things. That, over time, how do we work with developers so there are, charging stations? There'll be service parking here. In this neighborhood, there has to be a lot of surface parking. So for the tenants, so charging stations and
I would be surprised if they don't have them spec, to be honest with you. It's very much in the spirit of the project.
Thing, but what's really happening, right?
Yeah. Okay.
It's a bunch of questions to start saying, like, this is moving forward. They're gonna be coming back to this table for more and more financing, for more and more stages of the project. Let's, make our expectations clear that this would be a model project, especially in this location, for energy efficiency and to the extent that they can do more solar.
I do know that for the surface parking planned for this project, you can see from the site map, there's a lot of surface parking planned. I do know that they intend to cover those areas, like there'll be like kind of awning carports, and those are all going to be covered with solar panels. So,
which is also another great opportunity to have the EV charging.
I would guess they probably aren't doing charging in this because the trucks are not expected to park here.
This is really sanitation. This is sanitation function, right?
Yeah.
That's right,
but for the it's such a big site and there's so much potential to really push the developers on more solar and more.
These developers are particularly open to it, so. Okay.
Great, good. Let's,
My turn?
your turn, Diana.
Okay. Now before the HFA members is a resolution to be adopted that is transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for HFA, all in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Great, thank you, everybody. Now, Alex and Diana have a proposal to combine some items. Diana, can you explain that?
Yes, so the next 4 items, 3, 4, 5, and 6, all relate to our small building participation loan program. And so Madeline is going to be presenting. I thought just for sake of efficiency, you could talk about all 4.
Sure.
And then we could do a motion for all of them.
Both them all together.
Both them all together.
Yeah, great.
Sounds great.
And let me welcome Professor Wallace Ford. Nice to see you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're trying to wrap up our HFA stuff.
I understand. I'll be quiet.
No need to be.
Okay, does it matter the order? I don't have the agenda.
Not really, no.
Okay.
I would just tell people which item it is so that they can follow along.
We follow you in the report.
All right,
So it might be
perfect.
if you did in 3, 4, 5, and 6, or we book.
Okay, I don't, just tell me what
I'll
that
tell
is,
you.
and I'll do it.
584 Main Street.
Okay, great. Okay, so Burke worked very hard on these 4. I will try to do them justice. So 584 Main Street is a rehab with a new construction addition in the city of Poughkeepsie. The request is for just over $3 million, $3,180,000 in PLP subsidy for an early 20th century brick commercial building. And the proposal is to actually, which is unique for our program, to create 30 units of ESHI funded supportive housing, as well as some ground floor commercial space. All of the units in the project will be set aside for homeless young adults from 18 to 25. In the county, there is a really urgent need. I think the homeless management information system identified, 273 ESHI eligible homeless young adults in the county. So Hudson River Housing is proposed to be the service provider and to identify potential residents and have them occupy the units and receive services. And the principal developer has partnered with Hudson River Housing on other projects that are sort of similar and in the city of Poughkeepsie. The project site is on the east end of Main Street in Poughkeepsie. It's been a 5-minute walk to amenities, transportation, like different necessities that, you know, children in this service or young people in this sort of like service need would need to access. And the total development cost is a little over 5.6 million. It's quite low. It's under 200,000 a unit, but based on other recent projects that CPC has done with the developer, everyone seems comfortable with it. Their construction risk management group has evaluated it, and everybody feels like it's reasonable for this project, which has already been gutted. In addition to the 3.18 million from PLP, CPC will provide a construction and permanent loan of 1.64 million, and the owner will contribute cash equity of approximately $828,000.
Great.
Any questions on that one?
You don't have it in front of you, but the before and after photo is really quite dramatic because the before is like a building that just needs to be level.
Exactly, and it's really nice because it's
You call that interior.
there's a lot happening in that area, so it's really nice to just like add another one.
That is blight in downtown Poughkeepsie.
Exactly.
We'll certainly address that.
Exactly.
I have to ask you, please, if you can, the next three, if you can go through a little faster.
Oh, sure.
Speak faster, but maybe pick the information you think most important.
I sure
just in
can.
the interest of time.
I sure can.
The next one is 556 Main Street, so right down the street from this one.
Right down the street, exactly. There's a request for 810,000 in PLP subsidy. This is a new construction 3-story building containing only 9 affordable apartments and a small amount of commercial space. The project is again with CPC and a repeat CPC borrower who has done quite a few projects in Poughkeepsie, including a recent project right next door to this one. This is a vacant lot that had a demolished building on it. It's similarly well located, and the total development cost is just under $2.4 million, with the subsidy under $1 million, $90,000 a unit, and the owner providing the balance that's not covered by the CPC and the PLP loan. That's good. Next. Salina. All right, I'll try to be really fast on this one. This is actually a really great project. We're super excited about it.
Too fast. This one he cares about.
This is a really good one. I'll try to capture the main points, but Salina First is a cool project in the 15th Ward of Syracuse. They're requesting $2.76 million in PLP funds. And this would be 24 affordable apartments and 10,000 square feet of office and retail space. The developer here is both BIPOC and women-led with local roots in Syracuse. The three original partners met as part of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program and have been planning this project for quite some time.
Hosted by LaGuardia Community College. All
right, love it. The site is a former brownfield. Remediation has been complete, and the proposed project is part of a larger development. There's an adjacent light manufacturing building that is going to be conceived as sort of a maker space. That space and this one will be sort of condoed out together, and the total development cost for this part of the project is $9.2 million out of a total of $16 million. They've secured tons of additional support from Empire State Development, NYSERDA, National Grid, ARPA, Onondaga County's Housing Initiative, LISC's Black Economic Development Funding. They have a 15-year pilot from the IDA. So we're super excited about this one. It represents a lot of great collaboration, and it's really part of a really great planning effort in the neighborhood.
Right, very important.
If I could just add quickly, it really is heartwarming to see this team get this far with their project, right? They're well known in the community. They're new players in this arena, and they have some really great ideas, and they're trusted. So I'm really excited to see this here.
It's a lot of work, but really everyone stuck with this one and really worked to make it happen. So really appreciate the partnership on this.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Thank you, Sadie. Thank you for, I was hoping you would add something from your local perspective here. And let's hope this works out and that we'll hear from this development team again as they do more projects, particularly in downtown Syracuse. So really, really good. Thank you so much. Is there
Okay.
one more in the bunch
Yes,
that you're going to
thank you.
do?
There's one more. This is our first project in Long Island, which is exciting in its own right. It's in the Inwood section of the town of Hempstead. We have $4.32 million requested in PLP funding for the new construction of a 48-unit building. This is a Hempstead base. There's a local developer, BIPOC developer, who has been working with the CPC Access Program. It's being built on 6 parcels that formerly held like small family homes that were dilapidated. So it's adding some density. There was a rezoning approved by the town of Hempstead, which was very exciting, and the IDA has approved a 20-year pilot. So there's, a lot of local partnership on Long Island, which is exciting to see. It's less than a half mile from the LIRR stop, so it's easy access to transit. And the other thing that's nice about this project is that there are a lot of family units. So there's about half or 2/3 of the units are 2 and 3 bedroom units. And it will be 80% average affordability with 70, 80, and 90% units. So it's another one that we're excited about.
And good for you to be in Nassau County.
Absolutely.
Great. Diana, we've done these as a package. Can you tee up a way for us to approve?
Can I just make one comment before we do that? I just want to say that adding new construction to the PLP has been terrific. So we're very, very grateful for that. A lot of projects and sometimes both. And then this project in particular in Long Island with our access program, with the state support and CPC's high focus on bringing up brown and black developers, 50% of the construction loans that we made last fiscal year, we closed out fiscal year in June, were with brown and black developers, and a lot of that was in partnership with HCR. So we couldn't bring them along and bring them up without that supportive subsidy, and so it's a huge initiative, and you guys have been a terrific partner. So I just wanted to point that out.
Let the minutes reflect. That's super important. Thank you.
But I have to recuse.
But now that you've said that, you better get out of the room. So thank you for that good work.
Thank you, Doug. So yes, let's do it.
If there are no further comments or questions on the set, let's do the
Yes,
set.
okay. Now before the HFA members, are resolutions to be adopted that were transmitted in connection with the 4 items. I'm just going to mention them. The 4 items related to the small building participation loan. In the case of item 3, amount not to exceed $3,108,000 for 584 Main Street in Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County. Item 4, amount not to exceed $810,000 for 556 Main Street in Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County. Item 5, an amount not to exceed $4,320,000 for 356-370 Bayview Avenue in the town of Hempstead, Nassau County. And finally, in connection with item 6, an amount not to exceed $2,760,000 for SONYMA First in the city of Syracuse, Onondaga County. Assuming the first and second previously entered for HFA for each of the 4 items. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Noting the recusal of Sadie on, I believe, on all 4. You're a partner with. Having said that, the motions are carried and the resolutions adopted.
Thank you.
Madeline, thanks so much. And thank you for representing your colleagues so well. We've got one more thing. No,
the next item is the resolution authorizing contracts for legal services. I will dispense with the presentation that you all very patiently listened to me and my pitch for this evening. So unless you've had any questions since I last presented this, I would move to the resolution.
Because again, just to recap, for HTFC, for HFA and AHC, we're simply mirroring the approval for the extension of the panel.
Correct.
So you're done, right?
And the one exception I'll make is in this case, we are also extending the term of a single source contract with Ganfer Shore.
Right.
Which was, again, it was affirmed, we had to do a single source because we needed experience with condominium law, which with that panel that we had from 2012 didn't have. Okay. So that's one, it's different for this group that is for HFA than it is for HTFC. Mm-hmm. With that explanation, I would move to the resolution. Now before the HFA members is a resolution to be adopted that was transmitted in connection with this item for contracts for legal services. Assuming the first and second previously entered for HFA and AHC, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
All right, now, let's see. Dominic. Sorry, well, we've got Dominic, right?
He's got a correction on 2 of the items. Thank you. Yep.
Well, we're going to move to some AHC consent items. Number 8, right, is the resolution authorizing award of grant funds for certain projects.
Yeah, good morning.
There it is.
Here I am.
Good morning.
It's the only way to get up here if I make a mistake, and Alex doesn't like me coming up.
Alex is
All kidding aside, there was a typo in the memo. All reference to 1Q75A should be 1Q25A. All the other details are correct. That was for the Buffalo East Side Home Improvement Projects. If you recall, last year, we had $10 million. We provided to 5 groups. We since extended it to 6. We got additional Buffalo HAP money available. We're increasing 3 of our previous recipients' awards this month. We anticipate some more.
So that typo was intentional, so you could explain the.
Yes, yes.
I get it.
There's no such thing as bad publicity. So there's that. We're also presenting a Orange County flood program. I mention that because we're currently working on, the governor announced yesterday an expansion of the program to 8 other counties, I believe. We're working on that now. It's another $3 million, and we'll be presenting that as an information item. Ruth Ann has the power to award between board meetings, and then we update the board members after we do so.
Great. I'm just skimming through it. I'm sorry, Dominic. It's an impressive list of projects. But any questions for Dominic on awards? Always good to see them all across the state. Really good projects. You know, sometimes they look like, you know, that they range, right? A few $100,000 to $1 million, but they just have a huge impact on them.
They're like our kids, right? They're all different and unique in their own way.
They're all unique.
They're all special.
And, you know, if there were times, she would point out that you have at least one that's a mobile home project, right?
Yeah, that's a mobile home replacement project.
And I think actually the area in the Catskills and where it is, Delaware, Green, Schoharie, that is important because it is a harsh climate. So for those folks that are in that, the mobile home replacements there are great.
Yeah, well, I would love to take credit for this. It's really our partners,
Fair enough,
not-for-profit partners.
But
We're the rich uncle, rich grandparent that pays the bills.
Right. Great. Any questions for Dominic on the awards? Great. The summary's great. Terrific projects. Always good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alex, see you. He
No, he did good. He did
Thank
good.
you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, my turn?
Let's go.
Okay, now before AHC is a resolution that was transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously reported, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay. Diana, are we ready for Sunny May?
We do.
No, I need to say something
not.
about our lobbying restriction period.
Yes.
Sorry. We're going to move to an information item. It's number 9. We always do this. The current agency procurements and contracts in the lobbying restricted period. I need to bring that to everybody's attention. Now that I've done that, I can say this. There being no further business for HFA, AHC, and HTFC members, thank you all very much. Diana can ask for motions and second to adjourn this morning's meetings.
Assuming the first and second previously entered for HFA, AHC, and HTFC, all in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the meeting is adjourned.
Well, and then we can move, Diana, to our Sunny May board meeting for this morning. And again, welcome Professor Wallace Ward, James Freeman. Say goodbye to Sadie. Regrets from Joyce Miller, who had a conflict and was not able to make it.
Oh, there's Dave.
And a welcome to Dave Capel, fresh in from Greenport or some such place, or Roosevelt Down.
No,
We're right. I think we're good.
Yeah.
We managed. Thank you,
Can I
Alex.
just hear my OCD coming in here?
I got 10:33.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But thank you for grouping them together because that helped us save time, and out of respect to our early birds, Sunny May board members, we can start more or less on time now at 10:30 as pledged by Lil when she sent out the agenda. So, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
And Dave, nice to see you. Again, I wish Joyce were here, but she's got a conflict. We will ask for a motion, please, to welcome the Sunny May Board and start up proceedings.
Motion.
Second.
Or Diana's supposed to do that. I'm sorry. Diana.
Okay, I'm sorry. I will ask for a motion for the Sunny May Board.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
I will now ask for individual votes from each Sunny May Board member. Chairman Adams.
Aye.
Commissioner.
We'll get it when she comes back.
Okay. Mr. Olzak.
Aye.
Professor Ford.
Aye.
Mr. Freeman.
Aye.
Mr. Capel.
Aye.
And Ms. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Okay. I will ask for a motion for the Sunny May Mortgage Insurance Committee.
So moved.
Okay, second.
Second.
I will now ask for individual votes from each Sunny May Mortgage Insurance Committee member. Chairman Adams.
Aye.
Mr. Olzak.
Aye.
Commissioner, well, we got her, Mr. Capel.
Aye.
Okay. I will now ask for a motion for the Sunny May Finance and Program Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay. I will now ask for individual votes from each Sunny May Finance and Program Committee member. Chairman Adams.
Aye.
Mr. Olzak.
Aye.
Okay.
Terrific. Thank you very much, Diana. Let's move straight away to the Sunny May agenda for this morning, and we'll get those votes from Ruth Ann to satisfy the minutes and the quorum requirement. Item 1, minutes of the Sunny May and Sunny May Mortgage Insurance Committee meetings held on June 22nd, 2023. Thank you for our July break, by the way. And of the Sunny May Finance and Program Committee held on July 14th. Okay, well, there was a meeting. And on January 28th.
Last year.
Oh my goodness, that's going back to 2022.
Yep.
And then the minutes of the Finance and Program Committee from the 28th of January 2021. All of those shall be deemed approved absent corrections, comments from directors. Anybody have any comments on the minutes, especially the most recent thing in memory, ours, our June meeting? All right, good. Then number 2, approval of resolutions of the Sunny May Finance and Program Committee and of the Sunny May Board recommending and authorizing the issuance of bonds. Now we have a presentation.
Melina's coming.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Sunny May's Achieving a Dream and Low Interest Rate programs have been successful, and we have expanded our Sunny May bond issuances from 2 to 3 times a year to fund single-family mortgage loans through the Homeowner Mortgage Revenue Bond and or the Mortgage Revenue Bond General Resolutions. The bond issues include new money bonds, which are taxable, tax-exempt, AMT, non-AMT, long-term bonds, short-term bonds, and also includes refunding bonds. We are requesting the Board of Directors and the Finance and Program Committee for approval to permit the issuance of bonds in an amount not to exceed approximately $1.394 billion, comprising of economic refunding bonds and new money and replacement refunding bonds for a period of 3 years or until an adoption of an additional series resolution. This flexibility will allow the agency to issue the bonds during favorable market conditions and to efficiently acquire new loans for our expanding Sunny May programs and allow the best opportunity to maximize savings. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions.
Yes, and thank you for the presentation. With respect to the numbers that you mentioned, 1.394 billion over a period of 3 years, is that consistent with, because I just don't know, being still new to the board, of the requirements that you probably might have just looking forward based on the last 3-4 years?
I would think that's consistent. I mean,
Yes.
that's, yes.
What was it over, just roughly? I don't expect off the top of your head, but over the past 3 years would be what?
About 1.2, and
Okay.
we built in a little bit of.
Because this is not a major increase. No.
No.
Okay, thank you.
2 to 5. Any other questions? Thanks, Wallace. Your turn.
Okay. Now before Sunny May Board and the Sunny May Finance and Program Committee, are resolutions that were transferred to this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the Sunny May Finance and Program Committee and the Sunny May Board, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Great. Thank you very much. The next item was sent to the board members by separate cover. It was a different email sent out by Lil, and as is required, and it's got to be kept, this is to keep it confidential by the Department of Financial Services for their own procedural requirements. This is something between DFS and members of our boards, and it's the report, the ROE, or the report of an examination. So we're going to have that presented by Honey. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
So
You have a copy of the report and the responses by management. It's an annual examination that is being performed by Department of Financial Services. And the grounds for this is the public authority law. It's a routine, I would say it's a routine examination that happens, starts somewhere in mid-summer and continues till like end of the year. And usually we receive recommendations from the Department of Financial Services that are like I would call them from the category of like ideas for improvement. They have a gradation system that has 5 let's say scores, yeah, and it starts with strong, satisfactory, fair, marginal, and unsatisfactory. So during last few years, I'm here, like 2 years I'm here, and I looked at few examinations before. We were always marked as satisfactory. So it's a second from the top in their scoring system.
Doesn't give that a lot of
Yeah. And consistently over last few years, we were getting these ratings for all the components of that assessment, which includes financial condition, internal control, internal audit, legal, management, and informational systems. And the only item that they mark us as fair was informational systems. So for the rest of the items, we received a satisfactory score. And yeah, for this year, we had a little bit of back and forth with them because the examination team was new. They were asking same questions many times, and not necessarily they understood or agreed with our vision. And at the same time, they suggested something to us that not necessarily we need to agree with.
Excuse me, pardon me for interrupting, but
Yes.
I don't want to forget. You mentioned FAIR with respect to informational systems. Can you just explain, because FAIR is not satisfactory and it's obviously not the next level. What are we talking about here, please?
Mainly, their main concerns.
Information from whom to whom, I guess. Is what
They are talking about IT systems. And mainly their concern was that during the last few years, they recommended us to do disaster recovery planning and testing. One thing is when you have a plan, which we have, but we didn't test it to make sure that we will be able to restore our operations momentarily if some event will happen. And we postpone testing because of the BAM implementation, which was also like a challenging project. So both of these items were their concern during the last few years, and that's why mainly they reduced the score for that.
Would this be related to, and this is several months ago that we were talking about this with respect to information, SONYMA information being available at various participating banks, and that had to be addressed? Would that be related to this in terms of informational systems?
Not directly, no.
Not directly.
In terms of timing, this is a 2021
yes.
period.
So it's before that?
That we had was more recent, so it'll come up next time probably.
But I guess are the two connected at all?
No, I mean, their concern was not connected to that particular problem.
That happened later.
It had happened later, but availability of the information is something that they might have concerns about because, for example, not all the reports will be ready for them when they request them.
Question for you. When we discussed the month before regarding IT services and stuff, you were saying about backup in the FAIR report. There's 2 parallel systems that are running. Mm-hmm. So why wouldn't one be able to be tested independently before it's actually downloaded into the second system? Because that's a part of the security system that we have.
Yes, I see the logic, and I actually asked this question when I was doing the IT audit myself. And from the response that I received from our IT experts was that they don't think it's efficient to spend time to test the environment under the old system that is going to be retired. They prefer to test the system under the new operational system.
But this is the thing though, when it gets transitioned over into the new system, if there's a failure in the transfer of that information, they're going to have to use the old system in order to upload any deficiencies in the new system. So it would be easier to go ahead and run a test now because there should have already been backup systems continuously already. So have there been any reports in the backup systems currently to show any deficiencies in that as opposed to them being able to transfer it over later?
Honey, if I may, these are pretty important technical questions. Betsy's probably better prepared. Hanim is an auditor here, not the IT specialist. So to get a good answer, James, can we ask Betsy to help out?
Absolutely, but actually I would ask Tom who's on the phone to help out, who's even more technically expert on it. I mean, our plan is to do the tests now that BAM is stable. I just want Tom to opine on. I don't know the answer to your specific question about whether. So Tom, can you hear?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Did you understand? Did you hear the question?
I did. I wasn't sure who asked it, but so the reason we've sort of intentionally chosen to not do a disaster recovery test, because as Hanim said, the systems were changing, and so we didn't feel it was worth our time or effort to do a disaster recovery test on the systems that were being replaced, and that we were plan on doing a DR test now in 2023 or the beginning of 2024, fiscal year 2024, on the new systems. I think to the question of doing half of a test, the information has already been migrated to the new system. The new systems are in production now, and there was no issue with that transition. So the fair rating really, in my opinion, comes down to the fact that we haven't actively done a DR test on the new systems yet, and we had chosen to not do one as we were migrating away from old systems.
And again, just to come back to that, Tom, what's the timing? You say this calendar, I mean, what, it's August. So when do you think you'll do the DR test?
Yeah, so right now we're planning on doing it in October, which is the last month of the fiscal year for us. So it should be October or, very shortly after that.
Great. And then maybe, James, we should be asking that question at our November meeting. Hey, how'd the test go, right?
Right.
Because again, some very helpful questions from James.
Is the old information being archived?
Yes.
Okay, good. I would just call directors' attention, not just to the report of examination, which is a long but readable document from DFS, but Ruth Ann's, and I suspect she had a little help here, response, because this is not an audit, but it is like an audit in that you get kind of a management letter and then management response to the findings. The last section, I think, is the IT set of questions that we're looking at. I thought your responses, the team's responses, seemed good. But Hanim, anything else you want to add just to either the process? The 3 was the only score that was a 3. Everything else was a 2, right? Satisfactory.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. No, I mean.
I'm sorry. Anything else you want to bring to our attention, I should say?
Yeah, I think that for IT particularly, they agreed with the recommendation, they accepted them. So DFS should be satisfied with the reaction of IT management to their recommendation. For others, if you will see some contradiction in our responses to them, it's not because we do not see the value of what they are recommending to us, but not necessarily we are obliged to follow their recommendation in all the circumstances, or we don't think it's, let's say, efficient at the time. So I'm just explaining that for some contradiction, we have a good grounds for that.
Yeah, fair enough. It's DFS, and in this case, SONYMA, and it's almost, I think of it as a peer review in a way. I mean, they probably wouldn't see it that way. And it's required under the authority's law, right?
It's required under our statute.
It's under statute. Yep. You shall be reviewed annually. Is it annual?
Annually.
Annually by
Checks
DFS.
and balances.
Yeah.
Because DFS, don't put this part of the minutes, but at one point there were state chartered banks and they had work over there. There are very few state chartered banks left in New York, and DFS is the banking regulator, right? So go figure. They've got other work to do. But they're going to strike that from the minutes, but it means they've got plenty of people who can take a look at us and scrutinize all this activity, as well they should.
Was there any information regarding accessibility for the public in the report, any audit?
What do you mean?
We had approved an investment of $2 million for accessibility for like the website for the public to be able to review. Was there a review of any of that information as far as the public having access? Did that meet the satisfactory mark?
I don't remember in particularly them questioning this. I mean, they request all the documents for that particular period,
right,
about all our decisions, board minutes, everything. So if they put something into report or let's say recommendation concerning that matter, I don't remember. The subject in particular. I remember they were, let's say, expressing concerns about the periods of the Assets and Liability Committee. That's it.
That was a different.
Yeah, it was a different topic. That's it.
I think it's a timing issue again. Sorry, Haneem. Isn't this a timing issue again? I think the question of approving.
No, this was about the investment for accessibility for the public, because there was issues in the public being able to access the websites and stuff.
Right, but wasn't that approval just done within the last few months?
Yep, 6 months.
6 months. This is the 2021 assessment.
Okay.
So it didn't have, you know what I mean? Again, it's the timing issue of that approval was in the time period after this assessment was based on.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, Tom. Any other questions on?
Yeah, please.
Haneem, they emphasized in several places the question of authorized access to the system. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, they were talking about the recertification of the users. Yeah, so in their expectation that this recertification should happen more often and more strictly monitored. And we do, I see does the recertification. Sometimes there is a little lag between information about departed employees and current employees. And it is something that they carry from previous years. So it's less of an issue right now, but since they follow up on their previous recommendations, they again raised this matter this time.
Thank you. I think to me that's an important vulnerability that we
Yeah.
want to cover.
Yeah, you saw that in the, yeah. Great. Anything else?
Yes. Just for recollection now, satisfactory is 3. Is that correct? Was what the
Satisfactory is 2.
Is 2. Above 2 is
strong.
And above that is
nothing.
No,
nothing.
This starts at 1. So 1 is
okay. Then the other
way.
way.
I don't see. We didn't get any 1s, but I can't imagine they give out a lot of 1s.
We have never.
Ones is like you need to get out of that one.
Yeah. So you can get a 2, which is satisfactory. A 3, fair. We got one of those, and you don't want 4s or 5s.
Yes.
We don't.
We
no, because the lower the score, the worse the rating. So 1 is exceeds expectations. 2 is satisfactory. 3 is fair. 4 is, there's an issue. 5 is, let's have a conversation because you're in trouble.
Okay, so what I was hearing, so 1 is aspirational, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, is that something that we can, from an organizational standpoint, look to be aspirational? Is pretty much all the agencies in the state wind up with mainly 2s?
We would, it would be good if we will, make an attempt. Yeah, but if I will be an examiner of DFS, and I will be examining organizations like ours, or even, in a better control situation, I would personally never give them 1, because by giving a 1, I'm taking a risk.
And so this audit, Professor Ford, has been going on, like I've been here, 35 years, and 2 is the most we've ever gotten. 2. It's just, I mean, they just won't,
They can't really give a 1.
Yeah.
Well, this is
One
just,
is
I guess,
perfect.
childhood recollections. I'd come home with an A-, and my father would want to know why it wasn't an A. So there you go. So
They won't give me an A.
well, yeah, well, see, that wouldn't have worked. So,
No.
yeah. So I wouldn't have a place to go home after that. So, but if I'm trying to understand the concepts here, so that's fine. Thank
It
you.
is just for public authorities, so this is not for statutory departments, right?
Yeah,
Alex?
this is just the
And it's
Sunny.
not an audit, I want to go back.
No,
to-
well, you know,
You can call it an
it is a form of, I mean,
It's
Professor
audit-ish.
Ford was here when the Sunny May started. I mean, Sunny May was created really by the Senate at the time, and it was created almost as a bank, right? And so DFS at the banking department then was put into the statute to require an annual review.
Right.
And it was because they're really considered as a lending institution.
The superintendent of banks was on the board.
Yeah. And so every year they've been here, and I tell you, it's frustrated some of the CFOs we've had and others because they want to do better. And no matter what you do, two. The IT3 has been a recent development, but 2 is
Okay. All right.
But they're here every year. In fact, they're here now conducting the October 31, 2022 audit.
You should give them an office.
They used to have an office here. Now they do it virtual.
There you go.
All
I have
right.
drinks.
Wallace, any other questions?
No,
that was helpful.
that's it. Thank you for the explanation.
Yeah. Thank you, Connie. Okay,
Thank
let's move on and see if we can improve
Okay.
this.
Now before the Sunny May Board is a resolution approving Department of Financial Service audit of Sunny May that was transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the Sunny May Board, all in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried, the resolution adopted.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you again to Hanim. We will now move to approval of the Sunny May projects. Hey, that's good. Let's talk about affordable housing. On today's agenda, number 4, resolution of the Sunny May Mortgage Insurance Committee approving 100% mortgage insurance.
Hey, Mike.
Here comes Mike. On a $2,150,000 CPC permanent first mortgage loan for Village Grove, which is a project in Tompkins County. In fact, I think it's in Trumansburg. We're going to have Mike present it. Good morning.
Good morning. So this project comprises the development of 46 units and 4,200 square feet of commercial space. The project will include 7 supportive units and 39 low-income units. It's a heavily subsidized project. In addition to the CPC first mortgage, there's a $3 million HCR Housing Trust Fund loan, a $2,250,000 HHAP loan, and $2.1 million HCR CIP loan, which will pay for a nursery school at the project. The project is being developed by Ithaca Neighborhood Housing Services, which has received an ESHI award administered by the New York State Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance for rent subsidy and support services for the 7 supportive units that are reserved for survivors of domestic violence or disabled veterans. There's $11 million in federal low-income housing tax credits, $3 million in state low-income housing tax credits, and a pilot agreement with the Tompkins County IDA. Ithaca Neighborhood Housing Services was established in 1976 to revitalize Ithaca's downtown and promote affordable housing, and has developed more than 1,343 units. The insured loan amount is $46,700 per unit, which equals 8% of the project's total development cost of $586,500 per unit.
Mike, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions for Mike on this project up in Tompkins County?
Just an observation is the borrow equity contribution is really high on this one.
Yeah.
15 million, over 50% of the cost.
Yeah.
Usual, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Mike, I have a question for Alex. You know Trumansburg, New York, don't you?
Yeah, sure. I go there all the time.
What are two salient features of Trumansburg? It's a town of 2,000 people where we're doing this project in, on the west side of beautiful Cayuga Lake.
Is it named after the president?
86, just north of, north of it. Well, first of all, it's a village in the town of Ulysses. Ithaca, Ulysses, there's a, right? Well,
Homer.
That's it.
Homer.
And
James
there's a long
Joyce.
list of upstate New York towns that take their names from classics. But, the question is, how did Trumansburg get its name? That's what's compelling to me.
Well,
The
Berg
answer
is
is-
German.
By a spelling mistake. How often has this happened? The first person in this town was named Tremaine, a Revolutionary War soldier given a plot of land in upstate New York for his service in the Revolution. So it was like Tremaine, sort of Treman. Years later, they went to apply to create the town and name it Treman or Trumansburg. And the application to the Postal Service, they spelled it wrong. So down in Washington, the nice people who give out town names and zip codes said you're Trumansburg instead of Trumansburg. It was a spelling mistake by the Postal Service.
Are you on Wikipedia? Are you one of the Wikipedia?
I have been to this town, and
Wow.
it's fascinating.
So every
I'm done.
I want to know what town.
There's some quiz show somewhere waiting for you.
I've been there. 2,000 people. I love the fact it's in the town of Ulysses. No further questions or comments. I promise none from me. Let's make it happen, Diane.
Okay. Now before the Sunny Main Mortgage Insurance Committee is a resolution that was transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the Mortgage Insurance Committee, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried, the resolution adopted. I just want to do one digress to note that Commissioner Visnauskas is here and is present for the Sunny May board, and she
Mortgage
is,
Insurance Committee.
and also here for the Mortgage Insurance Committee.
Right. We took the role you were getting coffee.
Sorry.
Great. Let's do
She
5.
only gets two.
T. Resolution of Sunny May Mortgage Insurance Committee approving 100% mortgage insurance on a $2,700,000 CPC permanent first mortgage loan for the Salina project in downtown Syracuse, Onondaga County, a project some of us saw earlier. Mike, bring us up to speed, please.
So this project, it's in the city of Syracuse, which is a name from the classics, and it's in Onondaga County.
There you go.
Which is an Indian
You
name.
can make a long list.
Right. This project comprises the construction of 24 units and 10,000 square feet of commercial space. And all the units are restricted to households with incomes between 50 and 80% of the AMI. And the project has a $2.8 million HFA PLP loan, which is why the income affordability is between 50 and 80% of the AMI. It's a heavily subsidized project. There's $728,000 from New York State EDC. There's $280,000 from the city of Syracuse and 7 or 8 other loans and small loans and grants from other sources, including Onondaga County. There's a 15-year pilot agreement with the Syracuse IDA. The project is being developed by 3 local developers, Emmanuel Henderson and Eli Smith, who are MBE certified, and Gail Montplaisir, who is WBE certified. The insured loan amount is $112,500 per unit, which equals 28% of the project's $382,000 per unit cost. So this is an efficient project.
And this is the first partnership between these 3 MBE developers. So this is a big one for them.
Yeah, and again, I think we talked about this with B because we had to do the PLP loan. So Mike, you might not have been here, but we had some B, and there she is again, was talking about the importance of working with this team.
Yeah, no, I'll put it in the minutes here as well. This is a very respected team. They've worked really hard over the years to build their companies, their reputations, and their businesses. And for me, it's really rewarding to see this come to fruition here with this particular set of developers.
Thank you, B. And thank you, Mike. Are you done, Mike? I'm sorry.
Yes,
I'm gonna cut you off.
No.
Questions for Mike on this project in downtown
I
Syracuse?
just have a question, kind of an off the wall question. But I sit on the Long Island REDC, and I'm not aware that the REDC makes loans. I see that this is listed as a loan from the, I
For which source?
It's from the EDC, REDC.
That's a grant on my.
This grant, yeah, mine too.
EDC, Regional Economic Development Council grant 728, no scheduled repayment. I mean,
I
it's
said
almost
long.
like you don't have the
Right.
words no
Grant.
scheduled repayment because they snuck the word grant in there. But you're right, when you see that, you're like,
Right, thank you.
but that's a good catch because I don't know that I've never heard of that either. Those are, that's CAT, but state funds that are allocated through budget process, not loans. Great.
Things are always put in there to make sure that our board members read them.
You see that?
Right.
You get the A.
Keep us
Keeping us on our toes here.
Should I
And the Selena One project is the same one as this one? They're the same participants?
I mean, because they have a PLP?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Right, that if you see in the capital stack, the 2.7, the HCR loan we did earlier, the PLP loan is the biggest single subsidy here.
Dr. Ford, this is a all MWBE project. They're doing a full commercial project on their own independently.
I'm sorry, James, say that again.
No, the three people who are doing this is an MWBE project. All three participants are quote unquote minority participants that are doing the redevelopment and structure.
Yes, the development team.
Yeah, I think B noted that as well.
Yeah, and, we're looking at a total project cost of how much, Mike? $10 million, something like that. On the procurement side, there will be those, on the architects, construction, all the other requirements.
All the way through.
MWB participation.
My turn?
Your turn.
Okay. Now before SONYMA Mortgage Insurance Committee is a resolution that was transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the Mortgage Insurance Committee. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Thank you, Diana. Let's go to number 6, a resolution to SONYMA Mortgage Insurance Committee approving 100% mortgage insurance on a $5,293,100 CPC permanent first mortgage loan for the LESC or Les Pencer House Project down on the Lower East Side, right here in Manhattan of New York County. Back to you, Mike.
Thanks. LESC is the Lower East Side Service Corp. And this is the rehab of 40 SRO units for individuals with HIV/AIDS. And all units are covered by a project-based Section 8 HAP contract. So income eligibility is restricted to 50% of the AMI. It's a heavily subsidized project. There's a new $8.2 million HPD PLP loan. There's an existing $4.6 million HPD loan. And there's a 40-year 420C full real estate tax exemption.
All right.
The project has two contracts for the funding of support services. A contract with HUD, HUD's continuing of care contract for $305,700 per annum, and another contract with the city's HIV/AIDS Services Administration for $353,500 per annum. The insured loan amount is $132,000 per unit, which equals 28% of the project's total development cost of $480,600 per unit.
Beautiful building.
It sure is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a neat building.
sorry, some of us still are Googling it.
Can I ask, as a non-board member, just insurance committee member, a question?
Oh, yeah?
Yes?
Of course.
Okay, well, so in the last 25 years, the treatment of individuals who are dealing with HIV and AIDS has increased exponentially. I mean, what I know is just watching the commercials on TV, and you can do this, you can do all these great things, taking the proper medication. So this is not, or please advise, this is not a quasi-medical facility for people.
It's not.
So these are people who just qualify because they have HIV, AIDS, but they're as healthy as anybody else walking around. Assuming they take their medication, yeah.
Yes. Yes. In fact, we used to, the MIF used to insure several HIV/AIDS nursing homes.
Yes.
We insured the DASNY mortgages.
Yeah.
And DASNY has redeemed all of those bonds.
And I
asked
understand that.
to cancel the mortgage insurance.
Yes. I just wonder, because there's a range of illnesses and afflictions that we have where people are still able to walk around and lead a normal, even useful life, as the phrase is used. Does this open the door for other types of kind of quasi-health distinction? Let's say quasi because it's being treated.
I mean, this is the only one that we've seen that's limited to people with a particular illness.
So, Mike, I don't know. I had the same reaction when I read the materials, with the same kind of question. Oh, do people with HIV qualify for subsidies for, as a group, for subsidies for affordable housing? And I don't know.
Well, they do.
Okay, so
there's a whole city.
That's like a legislative.
There's a whole city agency, HASA.
Right.
See, the
I
thing
think
is HIV and it's AIDS. AIDS goes into the more aggressive, where you actually have the disease. HIV, you could take pills, depending on when they catch it, to be able to increase your T cell counts and other things. So you can walk around and you would never know that an individual has it because their count is so low. But Dr. Wallace's question, like the Jerome Avenue project, for individuals that had addictions and other things, we worked on that project where we put funding into that. We did funding for veterans. We did funding for the homeless. We did really touching base on every single aspect of any individuals that need and services, trying to fill all of those needs and services for them.
Right. No, get that. And I guess one of the things, we see a lot of projects, James, where there's a subsidy from ESHI, the Empire State, help me out with the rest of the supportive housing initiative, that really defines special populations where the operator of the housing, the developer, gets a special subsidy because it's victims of domestic violence, right? And it's a set of, I know this because I've been trying to do it for homeless college students in CUNY, and the category doesn't exist, right? Thank you, Commissioner, trying to help with that. And so I guess I don't know who to answer, to take James's point and try to turn it into a question maybe for Ruth Ann. So we have projects that come before us where there's an ESHI state subsidy to a qualifying special population.
Right.
And maybe people with HIV/AIDS, by the way, are on that list for ESHI. I don't know. But then we have developers like this particular group who say, I need your subsidy to put up affordable housing, and I'm going to pick the people that are going to live there, right? Where they could turn around and say it's for frail seniors tomorrow. They probably wouldn't. Does that happen too? Where we don't actually subsidize, we're not making a decision about who gets to live there. We're helping them put up the building. True. In some cases.
It's an existing building.
Yeah.
So we're rehabbing it, and it's already occupied and covered by a contract from HASA, the Housing and Aid Services, the city agency that provides funding to this organization to provide housing to this group.
Right. Okay. So it's sort of already there, serving people with this condition, and we're financing the redevelopment of the building.
Yeah, I think HASA has contracts on lots of buildings where they're paying nonprofits to provide services and housing to this population.
I mean, because I'm thinking of just it's sickle cell. Okay, it's not something that you catch; you're born with it. And people typically or rarely live past 45. With respect to this, the son of one of my very close friends is at 43. And so I don't want to take up too much time with it, but my question was: are there other distinctions for this type of housing that fit in? If HIV/AIDS is in there, so wouldn't argue that. But then does that is the door already open for other categories of people with chronic health issues?
I think it's sort of based on the agencies that sort of run these programs, right? So you have OASAS, the Office of Addiction Services, at the state level that has certain populations that they're sort of funding housing for. Obviously, at the city level, you have HASA. There's DSS at the city level that does homeless. At the state, you have the TVA, right, who does formerly homeless, OMH, mentally ill. So I think like the different health agencies, I guess, administer these different contracts, and then they're the ones who are sort of population specific. I don't know about the sickle cell one. We could certainly ask the Department of Health if there may be a program that they have that does that too. I haven't seen it, but it could exist.
Great. Well, good discussion. Interesting. Thank you, Mike. Any other questions? Then let's do it. If you
Now
please.
before Sunny May Mortgage Insurance Committee is a resolution that was transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the Mortgage Insurance Committee. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Great, thank you very much. 7, I'm sorry, I was at 8. 7, resolution of Sunny May Mortgage Insurance Committee and of the Sunny May Board recommending improvement of mortgage insurance on an $11,664,000 CPC permanent forced mortgage loan for a project in Inwood, Nassau County, called 356-370 Bayview Avenue. Mike, back to you.
So this comprises the construction of 48 affordable units, and this has an HFA PLP loan. So all of the units are affordable between 70 and 90% of the AMI. There's a $4.3 million HFA PLP loan. There's a 20-year pilot with the town of Hempstead. The developer is Isaiah Moultrie, who is new to us, but HFA, because of the PLP loan, has done a clean LexNex on him. And HFA's legal services department is doing further due diligence. The insured loan amount is $243,000 per unit, which equals 55% of the total project's total development cost of $443,000 per unit, which for Nassau County is a highly efficient project.
All right. Mike, thank you. Questions, anybody? All right, Diana, hearing none.
Now before Sunny May Mortgage Insurance Committee and the Sunny May Board is a resolution that was transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the Mortgage Insurance Committee and the Sunny May Board. All in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Terrific. Number 8, resolution Sunny May Mortgage Insurance Committee and of the Sunny May Board recommending and approving 100% mortgage insurance on a $5,175,000 CPC permanent first mortgage loan for the Parkview Apartments project in the Bronx. Back to you, Mr. Friedman.
Thank you. So this loan comprises the substantial rehab of 200 all low-income units. And the units are affordable between 35% and 55% of the AMI. So this is a highly affordable project. It's also a highly subsidized project. And in addition to the CPC $5.2 million first mortgage, there's a new $24.5 million HPD second mortgage. There's the assumption, there's a 40-year Article 11 real estate tax exemption. The project is being developed by 3 individuals, and this is the 3rd loan that we will have insured to these 3 individuals with total liability of $15 million. The insured loan amount is $26,000 per unit, which equals 15% of the project's total development cost of $169,500 per unit. So this is a highly efficient project, given the extensive rehab, which includes installation of rooftop solar arrays, new windows, elevators, roofs, boilers, flooring, electrical and plumbing upgrades, and extensive facade work.
Thank you, Mike. Sorry, I'm scrolling through the picture. Oh, we have a picture on this one. Yes, earlier, some of the before and after pictures were remarkable. Very good. Questions for Mike on this project in the Bronx?
Just a curiosity, 30 to 55 gallon drums of dirty oil-soaked debris. What was the source of that?
I don't know.
Did somebody just store it there, or kind of odd?
Yeah.
It's the Bronx.
It's
It's the Bronx.
Well,
Hidden treasure.
just make sure they don't dump it in the park across the street in the middle of the night.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. When you have old oil tanks and you don't want to call to have it pumped out, stuff rags in there. It just sounds like a mess. And there's lead, oh, this building's full of lead and other nice stuff, asbestos, there's a lot of cleanup here.
The Bronx.
It's
The
an
Bronx.
old building, needs attention. Thank you, Mike. Questions for Mike about this? Let's give these guys what they need so they can fix this building up.
Now before Sunny Mae Mortgage Insurance Committee and the Sunny Mae Board is a resolution that was transmitted in connection with this item, assuming the first and second previously entered for the Mortgage Insurance Committee and the Sunny Mae Board. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
On behalf of our friend Joyce Miller, who couldn't be here today, I know she'd appreciate the energy efficiency built into this, Mike. Always good to see.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry to go backwards. I was looking at something. One of the contractors have brought up a question about prevailing wage and being able to pay it. And did they qualify to be able to pay prevailing wage in that project, in the Inwood project?
In the Inwood project.
Yeah.
Which one is that?
The Inwood?
That's Bayview Avenue.
Bayview Avenue, yeah.
I don't know. I'll find out, but I don't know.
Well,
Okay.
what do we require prevailing wage in our projects? Since most of them are non-union.
For the insurance?
Not
We
for
do
insurance.
not.
But when we finance them through HFA, we do the mortgage.
It's, the development cost is only 443,000 per unit. So I would guess it's not prevailing wage.
Okay.
Yeah, the clarification of the commissioner that is federal funding triggers, what's that, Davis-Bacon?
Davis-Bacon.
Davis-Bacon, right? The Davis-Bacon Act. So federal funds trigger a prevailing wage requirement.
Okay.
We don't have them otherwise.
Right. Okay. That's one of the questions that came up from one of the contractors that showed up at the hearing.
I mean, I guess it could.
It's
the
hearing,
locality-
well, it's not, there's no Section 8, there's no federal
No federal
money.
money.
No federal money.
So it doesn't have to have prevailing wage.
Could a locality
Okay.
impose a prevailing wage? In other words, I'm making this up as an example. Could Nassau County or the town, can a locality, just because they want to do it, impose a prevailing wage requirement?
As a condition of something they're giving?
Yeah, of the pilot, for example. Does that ever happen? I don't know. I'm just wondering if it doesn't,
We've not seen it.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Okay.
And you're saying they showed up at the hearing, the local hearing?
When they had the hearing with the town and the court
Oh, I see.
and the stenographer, they were taking testimony. They had one contractor that showed up that had asked a question, because that was one of the concerns, was when they were bringing in contract workers, would they be able to provide them with prevailing wage?
And do you remember what the answer was?
They said they had to get back to it because they didn't know.
We'll go check.
Right.
We'll go check.
That's why I was
I
like
think
in
the
the
answer-
final.
Check with the nice people at Sunny Mae.
I think the answer is no.
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
It's too cheap.
No, you couldn't. Yeah, you're looking at construction costs there
Yeah.
that would be great. I mean, that's hard.
Right.
This is the very political sensitive thing, right?
Yeah.
But it's hard to build affordable housing. Most of our projects are non-union, right? The smaller ones that have a lot, especially upstate. And the minute you have much higher wage rates
Yeah.
and all kinds of work rules,
There's no project.
it's, well, or you need a much deeper subsidy. So it's a tough balancing act, right? For sure. All right, thank you, James, thank you.
So we have
Mike?
one more item.
Should we approve this one? Oh, we just
Yes.
did, that's right, that was
Yep.
a retro question. But you see, we allow this, James, you go back and take a project. Let's do the next one. Item number 9 is, sorry,
Money for DOB.
yeah. Well, it's a resolution authorizing transfer of excess reserves from the project pool insurance account. And Mike does this from time to time. Why don't you bring us up to date?
Okay. So the mortgage insurance funds, insurance accounts are rated AA1 by Moody's. And we once asked Moody's why they're not rated AAA. And they said there are no AAAs in the mortgage business. So.
Similar to DFS.
Right, similar to DFS. So Article 11 of the New York State budget for fiscal year 23 to 24 requires the MIF to transfer a total of $97.7 million to the Housing Trust Fund Corporation in the amount of $46.9 million, and the Homeless Housing Assistance Corp in the amount of $50.8 million from the MIF's unrated special account, and then from the MIF's AA1 rated project insurance account. we had excess balance in the unrated special account for the state fiscal year ended 3/31/23 of $54,552,000. The state budget requires the MIF to transfer the remaining $43 million from the project insurance account if the account maintains its rating. And we received confirmation from Moody's that the transfer of $43 million from the project insurance account will not in and of itself result in a change to the account's rating. So we're seeking permission or consent from the board to transfer $43 million from the MIF's project insurance account to the Housing Trust Fund Corporation and the Homeless Housing Assistance Corporation.
And it won't affect our Moody's rating.
Will not affect our
That's
rating.
the sort of point of this. All right, questions for Mike about this? Okay, Diana. let's
Now
make
before
it
the
real.
Sunny Board is a resolution that was transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the Sunny May Board, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Good.
All right,
Thank you.
Mike, thanks so much.
Thank
Good to
you.
see you this morning. Happy August. Enjoy the rest of the summer. We'll see you next month. Resolution number 10 is a resolution authorizing contracts for legal services. Diana, this is on you, I
This
believe.
is on me. Where's my cheat sheet here?
Cheat sheet. Is this similar to the item we saw?
Yes, it is.
This is, some of us have seen this item three times today.
This is the Ganther one?
This is, while you, I'll do the overview while you look at your notes. We're opening up the panel for non-bond counsel.
I got it.
And there she
I
goes.
got
I
it.
was
I
doing
got it.
an
I was
intro.
too neat putting it in.
I memorized this. I've heard it so many times.
Yeah, we did this for the HTFC and HFA board. So let me just kind of go back a little, put this in context. This relates to our non-bond counsel panel. So at the January 26, 2023 board meeting, you will recall the board's authorized extending the term of legal services contracts for non-bond counsel matters for a 6-month period. That is through July 28, 2023, as the agencies were working on a request for proposals to reestablish a pre-qualified panel of law firms. The agency issued the RFP on March 16th of 2023 and received 29 responses. An agency committee was formed and has reviewed the written responses and are now conducting interviews. We anticipate requesting the board to approve a newly established panel of law firms in the fall. To allow for a seamless transition of work, agency staff is requesting authorization from the members and directors to extend the term of contracts with firms on the existing panel to December 31st, 2023. In addition, authorization to extend the term of a single source contract with Ganford Shore that did condominium work at the time. We did not have anyone on the panel who could do that, to December 31, 2023, is also presented to the HFA members for approval. So we're in process. We really can't talk much more about it at this point. Earlier, I just noted that this was something that I noticed coming in as general counsel, that our panel for non-bond counsel, and we don't really use that panel very much, but it had grown stale. It hadn't been done since 2012. We, with tremendous help of Alex and our procurement department, launched on doing this. It's an additional thing. Unlike some of the projects where we do RFPs, notice the funding opportunities, you get to talk about great projects. No one likes to read bios and pitches from law firms, but we did this. It's a ton of work, and we did a short list. We've been interviewing. Can't really say much more about it because we're in this process, but I think everyone will be pleased that it's been refreshed. It's going to be representative of the state as a whole, all the different subject areas. Condominium law is one thing that I mentioned. It's something that is growing in terms of the kinds of work that we're doing. Environmental sustainability is also another area that we need to look into. So in process, but I do need to ask you to extend the existing contracts to the end of the year too, so that we don't have a gap there as we do use some of these firms from time to time.
Yeah.
On the Sunny May side.
Excuse me, so I have a couple questions.
Sure.
I'm not quite sure I understand, so you can't talk more about it. This is a board meeting. What can't you talk about?
It's a procurement. We're in the restricted period. We're in the
We're
middle
in the
of
lobbying restricted period.
lobbying
It's an
restricted
open
period.
procurement.
Right.
So for example, I'll just say this, probably interviewing firms right now. And
Correct.
We're not supposed to know about that. They will come and group back and.
Really? Okay.
As with any procurement, you have to wait until, there's a.
So we don't even know who's in the procurement process, or that's that listing that we have here?
Correct. What we've listed here is.
Lil, I'm sorry, Lil says that they can't hear you.
They cannot hear me?
Yeah.
Do you want to give me that?
Do that.
Okay. Lil, is this better?
Ask Jesse if you, Jesse, can you hear us?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, good, thanks.
So,
I mean, I see here there's 2 panels comprising 24 firms. Those are the ones that are being in this interview procurement process right now?
No.
No.
These are the old firms that we're extending for a short period before we come in with a new panel. And we're interviewing the folks for the new panel now.
And I'm saying the folks for the new panel are these 2
Yeah, in the
panels.
book.
Yeah, there's 14
Alex,
and 10.
There's.
These are the existing, correct?
Well, it says as a result of the RFP process, the agency's established following 2 panels. That's the last.
The prior
so this is just to
Got
tell you
it,
what
got
we need
it.
to, what we need to extend. If we.
That's the existing panel.
I think in January,
No, that's right.
Alex was terribly ambitious and thought we could get this RFP done by July 28th. And as sometimes happens, you can be a little overly ambitious, and we were overly ambitious thinking we could conclude this between, getting the RFP out there, giving adequate time for, you want to keep it open so you get enough proposals in. We got a lot of proposals that we need to review. You need to kind of go through them. The committee needs to talk about each of them. We spoke about each of them, decide who you want to come in for an interview. You're not required to interview. We could have just not that, but I think that there's a real value for us to have the firms come in and give each of the members of the committee that have, it's formed by various people that focus on hiring lawyers in practice areas. So you want to give them a chance to talk about it, and they can hone in on what their kind of interests are. So it ended up being taking a little bit longer, the whole process. I think that at the end, it's one that I think the agency will benefit the agency greatly because it will put together a panel that can address the needs of the agency and what we expect.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get an understanding. I'm not particularly, I don't think any board member is particularly interested in being part of the review procurement process. That's obviously a quite daunting task. My question was, we aren't to know even the firms that are in that process?
Correct.
In the system. Really? So how do we know?
Yeah.
So if we get results, because you heard me speaking about this going on a year now, right? So if we get results that seem to be out of balance with the kinds of outcomes that I know I'm looking for, it's going to be ex post facto. We already picked.
And then we would reject the recommendation, and they would do a new procurement.
And that'll be another year.
Pardon me?
That'll be another year, and the panel that we're here will continue to be here.
But that's the process, and as directors, we could look at what they recommend, because they would be, as a result of the RFP and then of your own internal process for review and interviews, you'll come to us. When do we think it'll happen?
In the fall.
In the fall, so October, November. I mean, I share your frustration here.
Well, it's not a matter of frustration as much as.
We reject the panel if we don't like it.
And then it's another year.
But let me just put this a little bit in context. So what we do is we prepare the RFP sets forth, and we spend a lot of time thinking about
And I respect that, yes.
So, but then, you sent it out there and it was published and whatever, and then, you can't make people submit a proposal, so you sort of see what gets submitted to you.
Of course.
And then you have to look at each of these and sort of see if what they're proposing, the services.
Okay, I don't mean to interrupt, but I know this, yes, I understand that. Okay, my question, I'm not making my question clear, I guess, is this whole process so opaque to the board that we don't know anything until the results of this process comes through, and if we don't like it, then we can kick it back for another year, and sticking with the same folks who are already in place from the year before.
Yeah,
Because it reminds me of a book by Jack Newfield about 30-something years, The Permanent Government, which I think we're trying to get past that. And so as I say, perhaps it's just an observation. I'm not going to suggest let's do something totally different at this point, but it is an observation in terms of how do we do things differently without some input from the board that's been placed here to do things differently.
So I think, I mean, that's a good question. I think we could provide the board now, I think, Diana, before we go with the list we received, how many?
Well, Lisa, our head of procurement, is not here today. She couldn't be here. And, procurement they've always what I would call some kind of counterintuitive things. But you got to be really careful here because you don't want to mess up your existing procurement and have, it be challenged.
Right, no, we'll double check with Lisa, but I think that we could provide the board with the list, assuming Lisa agrees.
I don't know that we can do
Well, let's
that.
not debate,
Go ahead.
let's not debate that now. We know as directors that there are very important controls and sensitivities. And we know that we're not talking about a panel of plumbers, but of lawyers. And if history's a guide, some big, I'll call them majority firms, might not make the cut. And then they put an army of lawyers to scrutinize our procurement process. So an outsider can upset this if we do anything.
But even if it's not, pardon me, okay, understanding that. So it's not the names of the firms we're talking about, but at least 20% are Latino-owned firms. 40% are Black-owned firms. Something like that. Is that possible?
The existing panel, you have 10 MWBEs out of 24.
Right.
So, for example.
But what I'm saying is, I think we can check with the procurement people, and we I think could provide the board with exactly that. These are the folks that applied.
Right.
And so it's, we received 20 applications, a quarter of them were for MWBs. We can provide that information to the board. We are now obviously, reviewing all that and we'll make recommendations to you. So we're not going to.
My only point is, if it was, let's get crazy, right? It was 5, okay? If we know that now, hopefully there will be some input and say we need to do better than 5. I don't care who it is, but it needs to be better than 5 out of 30.
Right.
That's my only point.
Unless the procurement's closed. It probably has.
Well, the procurement's closed.
Well, no, the procurement isn't close until we make the
submission of no new people can submit now.
Correct. But at least we can tell the board, we received 30 responses. That's official. We're not getting any more. And out of 30, 10 are MWBs or WBs. We can provide that information to you just so you know what we're looking at.
I think Professor Ford wants a breakdown within the MWB.
Right. Yeah, and we could do that within, so as long as we don't identify, we could say this is the menu of responses we received, and now you know, and then when we come to you, we'll make we'll disclose it all in the memo and talk about whom we interviewed and whom we're proposing to select at that point.
Okay.
So I think we could do that, but Diana's right. I want to check with Lisa.
Okay.
Could I add a few?
Yes.
Could I add my 2 cents? Okay, so I think this is a really important question, and it's come up on and off all the time since I've been on the boards. But the real answer that I would be looking for is how we are changing the process at the beginning so that the word gets out to the broadest possible audiences that could qualify, right? How are we opening up our processes at the front end, not having the conversation at the time of vote? And that would be a real conversation for Lisa to talk to us about how she advertises, where she advertises, how she's building her pipeline.
And that will all
we could provide information in that process at the beginning.
Right, and Professor Ford, I think, provided some of that information before he came on the board, before we did the RFP of B. And so you will see in the board memo that's going to come to the board, 2 pages of the outreach that we did, and it will indicate the efforts we made for MWBs, and part of it reflects some of the suggestions that we received from the board. So yes, that will be provided at the very beginning of the board memo. In detail.
Thank you, B.
Right, because the question becomes transparency. Because one of the things that we talked about from the beginning was being able to gauge the changes that we were looking to propose and to do in the procurement process. So I understand wanted to keep it quiet because in that way, it keeps any board members or anyone else from influencing certain things that go on. But as board members, what we do want to know, and I think I can speak for the others, is that we want to know if there's 25 people that came in, and just like B said, who did they reach out to? Out of the 25, say 10 of them are MWBEs. Did they all meet the qualifications in order to be in that final process of decision? And if they met it in the final decision, is it subjective? Who's making the decision on you're out, you're in? We would like to know if those individuals who were part of MWBE, say 5 of them were disqualified, why were they disqualified? What criteria did they not meet in order to be a part of the process?
And that will all be, the committee will be described in the materials that come to you, and the criteria, that will all be in the memo that you get.
The outreach.
That will all be there.
And
as far as, as much as we can put it.
And the RFP itself, which you can read, but around the minimal qualifications, right? You get interviewed and, right. Okay.
But I agree on extending it until December because since you had so many that came in, we do want to find out the qualifications, who they are. We don't want a gap of like 3 to 4 months without anything.
They can't operate that way.
Right.
We're very ambitious, but we'll be very thorough.
We've had like 2 interviews a day for what, for 2 weeks?
It's really, it's, unlike other things that we do here where we have to interview, we hear about projects, which is kind of fun, it's very uplifting. Interviewing a lawyer, I mean, I'm a lawyer, I'm not like recovering lawyer, I'm a lawyer, I like our profession. I very much enjoy working with Alex, but it's very tedious and yeah, you're hearing people give you pitches. So like,
a lot of firms.
There are a lot of firms and, you really have to sort of tease out, who's really going to provide that service. And look, there's no question, I think, we're very focused on making sure that it's representative, not just, New York City focused firm, not just large firms, small firms, minority firms, women-owned firms, Latino firms, there are not very many of those. So it's something that's very front of mind. And I am optimistic that the board will be pleased with the outcome and it will reflect what your interests are.
In the procurement also, are there restrictions as far as time of participation? Because I know the one that we're extending, we had them for a year, then when they extended for like 3 years, then we extended for 6 months. Are there limitations once we finish the process on how long individuals will be able to be a part of?
Well, I think they're all, Alex, you might say.
I think the panel, I think the panel is supposed to last 3 to 5 years.
The last
3 to 5.
12 years,
Right,
11 years.
right. We kind of stayed with that a little too long. But firms can be added to the panel during the period.
Like a single source, if you need something particular that's not there.
Or if you have a new firm that has come in and makes a presentation, we can always add to the panel. But I think it's 3 to 5 years. I'm just not.
That may be an item for board discussion down the road.
Also, keep in mind, part of the reason the agency has not seen the need to do this is that on the non-bond counsel side, we really don't use a lot of outside counsel. It's very targeted.
Niche stuff.
Yeah, like insurance stuff. There's some labor issues that are particularly sensitive. You want to have outside counsel on. Some of the litigation matters. It's really not. I think I mentioned condominium because that was an area of the law that we didn't know. So it really tends to be very targeted.
Right.
And it's not quite the repeat stuff that you have here. For example, on the bond counsel side. So.
Right. See, I bring the question up because, like Dr. Ford had mentioned before about the individual who builds bridges, like the family has been in the family business for 60 years. Are we allowing individuals who are coming out to have an opportunity to have the experience, to gain the experience?
One thing that, and I'm new to before the housing space, but a lot of firms, it is sort of a niche area, and there's a lot of experience, for example, land use and zoning and other things that really aren't necessarily relevant to what we do. although they've done a lot of important work. So it's trying to sort of, in these interviews, sort of tease out what they're doing and seeing if it can be helpful for us. And I use co-ops and condominiums as an example because that's something where we think it's going to be more, we're going to need more of that expertise, and that was something that the last panel, we didn't have that. So it's, so again.
And I would just add, to James's point, like the example of the development team in Syracuse that B knows and was telling us about before for the Salina project, part of what's happening there is giving that team their first opportunity, which is a business development service. And it's like a business, it's like it's giving them a chance to become a new team that hopefully we'll see every few months doing new projects. And I think if I can extend on James's point, when you, and again, we arm's length here, but when you're looking at the mix of firms that you're going to present to us in the fall, seeing some firms that are names we don't recognize because maybe they are new, and they're people who are looking to get involved in this work. It's not side pageant, nothing wrong. Some of these firms that we know forever, because again, almost as an extension of our mission, that business development function of giving these new firms a chance to get part of the action, right?
Well, just pardon me if I just can mention, as somebody who's been in the practice of the law over the years, law firms aren't like Ford Motor Company or Boeing or something. It's not the institution. It's made out of people.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, and the people come and go.
Exactly.
Okay, and so the same people who were at Hawkins, Delafield, and Wood when I was president and CEO here are not there anymore. I hope, but the institution is still there because the people come up through the ranks. Those people, not everybody stays at Hawkins. They go to other firms. You get experience in different ways, and it's one of those things that if you have to have something in order to get something, how do you get to first? Okay, and so I just, the notion that there is something so proprietary about the work that's done for institutions like the State of New York Mortgage Agency, I don't think is bulletproof, if you will. There's a lot of other ways and firms gain experience, as was mentioned, by getting experience. And we're not asking to get people, straight out of the bar exam or something like that, but people if they show, credibility and experience with these other firms. That's the part I'm talking about that we use over the years. I don't see that is something that shouldn't be taken into consideration as we try to we'll just keep talking about diversify every aspect of the services and initiatives of this entity. And one of those has to do with whether it's the law firms or the investment banking firms or other service providers. The only way you do that is by getting people who are different in there. Taking experience is important, okay, but experience is not a sine qua non if you're going to say it's an absolute. Of course, experience is important, but it is not something that, unless you've been working with agencies around the country, like the State of New York Mortgage Agency, then you can't come and work here.
Yeah, but I think I completely agree with you. It's a point well taken. I'll just let you know, and Alice can sort of vouch for this. When you get a pitch from a firm, they tell you about all these things, but I focus on who shows up at the interview.
Sure.
And I want to know what that person did, and you got to say, and so describe to me what you did, right? So I think sometimes, and I completely agree with you. And I've worked with some prominent firms, and I know not everybody is the same. And so when I look to, and something that I think that any experienced lawyer does, you're not really looking at a firm. You're looking at the individuals there, what their experience is.
Who's the team?
Exactly, what the team is. And I think that to me is something that the process that we followed here, painstaking. I'm not sure my colleagues would have signed up for this to do it this way, but I think it's been really valuable for us to sort of know who we're going to call. And sometimes, you kind of have to sort of really listen very carefully in those interviews and have people tell you what exactly do they bring today, but who are you getting there? That's really paramount importance. I couldn't agree with you more.
Okay, because I'm looking, for example, Golenbach firm. That was literally my first job out of law school 50 years ago. Okay, I'm pretty sure nobody from the firm that I work with is still there. But it's a totally different entity. It's one of your non-MWB firms.
It's across the board. I mean, look, part of what prompted me to actually want to do this is there was a matter that came up that we needed to go to a firm. And I said, okay, well, look, I know this firm. It looks that in our they checked that they had that experience. Well, it turned out that person had retired years ago, and that firm really no longer had that expertise.
Right.
So I think that's part of what this process. as painful as it's
That's enough,
been.
you're doing an updating.
Well, you have to do it because even these big firms, they change in what their expertise is. And sometimes you'll have, maybe there's a senior partner who's kind of on their way out the door. Okay, they have it. Is there someone that's come up to succession to that really has had that experience that could be of benefit to us? So you really have to it's not enough to just look at what you have to really delve into that and go at least several layers deeper. And it's what we've tried to do. And I hope, Professor Ford, that when you see what we've done here, you will share my view.
And you think that's probably October, November? Put you on the spot? No.
I think October.
The fall, he said.
The fall.
Right.
I wish we could have met our deadline.
You know what? At this point, because we've got the extension from we're about to, I think, get the extension from us through the end of the year with the old panel. Just continue to do it right. I mean, thanks for the hard work. And
correct.
Well, I mean, to give you an example, and perhaps it's not totally apt, but when we were trying to get black-owned firms involved doing as bond counsel, you had to be in the red book, right? So the only way you can be in the red book is you have to work on transactions. So it's kind of a circular process until I sat down with our in-house counsel and said, well, how do you break this? And he said, what you can do, but there's something called co-bond counsel. And so you can come on as a co-bond counsel. And so we got, a couple of black-owned firms to work with. I think it was Hawkins. I forget which firm it was. But anyway, and it came on.
Darby and Wood Williams.
I beg your pardon?
Barnes and Darby
and
Wood Williams.
Yeah, good, better memory than me. Yeah, so, but my point is, and then they got into the red book. Now they have that experience and can move on. If we're talking about not necessarily with the MWBE process, but what you're speaking about in terms of just more firms with diverse experience, could we look at co-bond, not so much in getting them in the red book, but so that they get the kind of experience that that the organization is looking for going forward. If you get my drift, that means splitting up fees a little bit. That's fine because we are the ones making the call on it, and I don't think anybody's going to say no with respect to getting 80% instead of 100%. But we can start growing our own farm team, if you will, of firms with experience.
The only thing I would say, Professor Ford, is that's all. But this panel is actually going to be better because in this panel, it's not the bond counsel or co-bond counsel. In this panel, when you see the MBEs, they're going to be on their own. They get the entire fee. So we have MBE firms
for bond
today.
counsel, we do a lot of that co-bond.
Well, we do that, but for this, if we need a litigation advice, we go to a minority firm. They do the work on their own. They get paid.
Okay.
So this is even better. Here, you really sole.
It's a.
We got to.
Let's
If
go.
it's
Let's
okay,
go. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I just want to share a personal anecdote. I don't know how relevant it is on the question of experience, but I got my first experience in government when I applied for a job as community development director in the village of Greenport in 1979, a position for which I was patently unqualified. My experience at that time was limited to restaurant management and rock and roll. Luckily, I got they saw something in me that they liked. I got the job. I had a big success, and I've been in government ever since. So, you got to look beyond what's on the paper to the individual to spot whether there's opportunity there.
Yeah.
SRO
guitar or bass,
and now rock and roll.
Jimi Hendrix. We'll get Dave to the HCR talent show, the Sunny May talent show at Christmas parties. Okay. All right.
I had a
Let's make this one real.
band in law school. Sure did. I was helped write songs and was the leader of the band.
The first and second previously entered for Sunny May. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. All right, thank you.
The motion is carried, the resolution adopted.
Thank you very much, Diana. Good discussion. Thanks for your hard work on this important procurement. The last two items on this morning's agenda are informational. 11 is the current agency procurements and contracts in the lobbying restricted period. 12 is the MIF, or Mortgage Insurance Fund activity report for July. Mike's probably left the room. Is Mike on? But I think we all noticed that we're really behind in mortgage recording tax proceeds.
That's a red flag, isn't it?
Ooh.
Big time.
We can talk about Mike maybe in September meeting, but.
Well, you know what? I didn't see that.
It
went down?
Oh,
He noted,
I mean, we were looking at $25 million quarters in last year, in 2022, and now you're like 8 million, 9 million. So we're in 7 digits there, so we should be in 8. But yeah, so overall, the proceeds from the MRT seem low, right? Dave flagged that too, and maybe we ought to look at that next time. But anyway, that's in the report. No further business, it says here.
Well,
our directors
yeah.
is, yes, sir, let's do one more. Let's do some more.
Yes, it is at the high risk of repeating myself, but I'll take that risk. We're still looking at the Empire State Development Corporation and representatives coming here. And obviously they're not here. What is it that we have to do? I've been asked to stand back and stand down with respect to reaching out to the organization myself, which I respect and have not done. But I'm just baffled. The state of New York Mortgage is a multi-billion-dollar operation here, not mom and pop. I understand they're going through transition. I understand that they're bringing in new people, but this is not the magic we're talking about here. Whoever they're bringing in ought to at least have staff who can give them sufficient briefing that they could come here and work with us, as opposed to zero. And I don't know why, when we're talking in terms of institution, respect and disrespect, I don't think are particularly useful terms. But whatever is going on at ESDC, whatever is going on here at State of New York Mortgage Agency, I remain steadfast, and what I've said since the first meeting I attended back in October is that we're looking to see a higher rate of engagement and involvement with the minority business community, particularly Black and Brown, Black and Latino business communities in all ranges. And we can't do that without ESDC. I understand that, but here we are. And, this is the first time in the history, and I hope this is the minutes recording this is the first time in the history of the state of New York that the leadership of the New York State Legislature has been all Black. The first time we had a female governor. The first time we had a Black mayor. The first time we had the leadership of the city council be Black. Yet institutions that are part of this permanent government are not responding. Okay, that is, I don't know. It doesn't matter why. It's just those are the facts. Not responding in a fashion that I've seen with my own eyes in other cities, in Chicago and in Washington and Atlanta, cities that certainly were as steadfast, governments that were steadfast in doing it the old way, as perhaps we're seeing here in New York. As I said, I've been watching this movie for over 30 years, and I'm not quite sure what it takes to change, but I'm in it for as long as it takes for that change to take place. And so I just want to register on the record in the minutes that I'm particularly dissatisfied with the lack of response from ESDC and the fact that this organization, the Sunny May, has not been able to make that happen. Okay, if somebody needs to go down there and just jump on a desk, then that's what they need to do. Hopefully it doesn't take that. But we work directly for the governor. This organization is direct appointed, so can somebody from the governor's office call it through, whatever it takes. But this is not magic. This is not science. It's one thing I've learned in being in government over all these years. There's no magic, with all respect. It takes somebody having the will and the desire to say, yes, let's make this happen. And nothing else is going to happen until this happens. And we're not seeing it. And I'm hopeful that by the time we come back in September, because I heard this in July, but we didn't have July. I heard it in June, heard it in May, and heard it in April, that it's coming down the line. It's coming down the line. And I just don't think that patience is what I'm here for. And so I want to put that on the record. And I don't know if there's a response that's useful right now, other than we're going to try to make it happen. Not try to make it happen, that we will make it happen with something more than hi, how are you, whenever whoever it is comes from ESDC, but with something that is the beginning of a plan. As I said, this is a multi-billion-dollar operation. This is not mom and pop. Somebody ought to be paying attention to what the hell we're doing here. So there we go.
Thank you, Wallace. And the minutes, of course, will reflect that. Dan's been working on it. And what's the latest?
Yeah, I think we might have mentioned in June, but I don't think he had started yet, that Jason Clark was hired by ESDC.
Yes, yeah, okay.
So we are looking to get him to the October meeting.
October?
Yes.
What's the matter with September?
I think he's available to come to the October meeting.
Yeah, that's not acceptable. I'm sorry, this was not, I don't want to be disrespectful here in this meeting, but that is absolutely not acceptable. That is just not acceptable. And I don't know why we accepted it in the first place. October is not September. Our next meeting is in September, and he damn well should be here in September. I don't care what his schedule is. He's not that busy. We're all busy. Okay? I'm busy. We got here. No. We just need to make it happen. If it doesn't make it happen in September, then I think any restrictions on any communication I can undertake, or Mr. Freeman can undertake, is now in bounds. Okay, but I'd rather respect having the executive branch of our organization do what it's supposed to do. Okay, but if they have, I don't make threats. I'm not doing anything like that. It's a promise. If Mr. Clark is not here, then I consider any commitments that I've made to stand down to be null and void. And so I hope that that's not the case, because I'd like to think that our requests are respected here, and I'm not feeling respect when it's April, it's May, it's June, and it's, you know, and it's Christmas. And, you know, we don't have the time for that. It's not our time, it's the people we represent and the interests of the people who are represented by the people who put us here. Okay, these you know, and particularly, you know, the Black and Latino businesses, whatever business we're talking about, went through hell, as we well know, the last couple of years before, you know, because of COVID. I was on Mayor de Blasio's you know, small business COVID task force, and we watched Black business evaporate. Been around for 10, 20 years, evaporate. They were there yesterday, they're not there anymore. And also in the Latino, that's what we're talking. That's what we're talking about. Extremely vulnerable. I don't care how much money they're making. Okay, and so we are in a position that we're a public agency. If we were, you know, general food, we should still be doing something. But we're here seriously as a government organization. We represent the people of this state of New York, not some people. Okay, and I'm feeling some people right now. So that's it.
Anything else? Everybody good? Thank you, Wallace. The minutes will have all that, and we'll try to get this gentleman here in September. Do we have a date for the September meeting?
September 12th, I think.
September 12th?
It's Tuesday in September, just a note for folks,
Okay.
because of PACB, we had to change the date of the September meeting, right? And it's on a Tuesday.
Has that been sent out yet?
Yeah. Is the meeting notice out? Or?
The meeting, I mean, it was updated, but.
Yeah, I have it.
We'll be
I have it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, very good. No further business, let's adjourn today's meeting.
Okay, I now ask for motions and seconds to adjourn. There being no further business for the Sunny May directors, I will now ask for motions and seconds to adjourn the meeting.
So moved, or second, sorry.
Okay. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the Sunny May, all in favor of adjourning, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, the meeting is adjourned. See everybody September 12th. Have a lovely end of summer and happy Labor Day.
Thank you, B.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Our remote friends.